Good evening, everybody. Nathaniel here with David, actually. We are checking out an A1 matchup. It's been a somewhat interesting night of Mahjong. We had an A2 series where Riley just popped off. David, we saw a little bit of that game while preparing for this one, and just Riley was winning every hand.
Yeah, no, sometimes those games happen. Like someone just keeps winning, and gosh, it was fun to watch. But I wouldn't want to be fourth place in that position.
Yeah, I think Riley finished with something like plus 70 points, plus 71, something along those lines. It was just a ridiculous score. We'll see if someone can pop off in this game. In A1, it is Minko, Peter, Korak, and Bichen who will be battling it out in that order around the table. Of course, this is their first of 4 games this series, so these players, their stats only are showing the results of 4 games played, and there's the potential that they might be playing all 4 tonight. Will at least be able to catch 2 of those games. And I'm very curious to see how these conflicting play styles match up against each other. Of course, Korak has a very flexible play style. Sometimes it's Mangan, sometimes it opens aggressively, and it kind of depends on who he's playing against and also the situation at the table, what he's reading off of the other players. For Bichen, very different play style, more of a closed defensive style. However, Bichen absolutely dominated in A2 last season to climb back into A1. Minko has a very aggressive play style, typically stays closed unless he has a need to open. And for Peter, also a pretty Menton style, likes to stay closed. So it's like 3 fairly closed players against Korak's maybe more open style. We'll see what style he chooses to play in this game. It'll be Minko opening us up as the dealer, and he's already Ishan 10. Any thoughts on this hype buy?
Yeah, this is a great Ishan 10. Ooh, yeah, I'm hoping this somehow changes into maybe a Sanchoku in some ways, but I still like this hand in any type of Ricci as dealer.
Yeah, I think I really like this Haku Haku cut. Especially as you said, we can turn this into 456 Sanchoku with a draw of the 4 mon or the 5 mon.
Each.
This is Tempai, and he'll just smash the button, not even waiting for a potential upgrade. And it'll be a defense for the rest of the table, unless someone has a hand worth fighting with.
Yeah, this is what I actually like seeing the most. How people play against a dealer
Each.
reaching on the board. Yeah, as you can see here, people that I hope to see a lot of people not completely folding, but doing some type of Maoshi or playing around to try to go for a Pursuit Ricci. I really love seeing that.
Yeah, Peter shoved the 8, so had no information, had no safe tile, so he said, you know what, I'll just hold my Ishanten. For Ricci, Penfu potentially Ipeco Dora 2, and drew the perfect 6 pin to have a Diamond wait. And there's the Dora!
Wrong.
Oh god, that oh wow. Yikes, that's an expensive hand.
And just like that, Peter will open us up with a Mangan, snatching away the dealership. And, that's a spot where maybe if you don't instantly reach you can draw that door, incorporate it in your hand, and at that point you'd be chasing Peter down, as he would have gotten Tempai first. Definitely an awkward situation, but, you can't really complain too much about taking an early reach as dealer. It typically puts a lot of pressure on the table. It's just Peter was already very close to Tempai with a strong hand of his own. So he'll start off with the early Mangan and see if he can continue that momentum with 2 Dora in this high pie. 1 completed shape and a good Mon block, lower Mon block. Decent floaters as well, but already around the table, there's a lot of speed happening. Korak opening first with the West call, and looks like he's angling for a Honitsu with potential Dora Tanki in the future.
Yeah, personally, I feel like this hand. Yep, Korak seems to be going for Hongitsu, and it seems that like Bichen is also that kind of looks like a Hongitsu foot to me too. So I'm curious how the honor sharing will be later on.
Yeah, that's a good point. They all want to use honor tiles for their Honitsu hands. The only player who doesn't is Minko on the left with a Tanya. Actually, Ishanten may not be Tanya if he draws the 1 so, but for the time being, we have 2 players, Ishanten, Korak, of course, waiting for the 3 mon, and then any honor pair, but hopefully the south pair. And of course, Beacon across the way. Ishan 10 looking for a pair, and the Tuso.
리치.
Ricci comes out
Ooh.
from Minko instead. Ricci, potential Tanya, waiting 1-4 so.
So how much do you like regions
Come.
like this in general? Ooh, that.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Well, now I love it.
Yeah, now that reach has suddenly become a lot better, hasn't it?
Peter has found Tempai here, just waiting on the 6 so doesn't want to Ricci this. Maybe if he draws the 5 mon? Oh,
Sumo.
just sumos and wins the Mangan. Sumo door 3. And that was not the hand I was expecting to win. It wasn't a very good weight, and it was in the Honitsu suit of his the player across, his Toyman. And still Peter manages to pull the contract. Probably wishes he took the Ricci now, but you can't really complain about winning 12,000 points.
Nope. And it seems like it's going to be one of those games.
Well, we just saw where Riley pulled way out ahead. It took a while to get there, though. It took, into the South rounds to really start to pile it on. But in this game, Peter just getting there right out of the gate. Another pretty strong hand for him. It looks like it wants to be Ricci, Pinfu, potential Dora, maybe 3-4-5 Sanchoku as well. On the right, Korak is looking to play this hand closed, most likely. Ishan, Dian, Shantan. Kind of awkward 7, 8, 8, 8, 9, and the West pair. You have 2 pairs, and just chooses to drop the 9 so and hold the 5-7 Kanchan. That can upgrade with the Dora draw. In the meantime, across the way, we saw Beachan opening up on the east, looking at perhaps another Honitsu play, and holding all the wins, just in case, you draw into a random Sho Sushi, even through the 4th east. Has not conned that. It's probably going to be a safe tile, because this hand's looking like it's struggling to complete. On the left, we have Minko with Dora and 2 away from Tempai, but Korak gets there first. Not willing to take a Ricci Nomi, waiting on this 6-0. When there's an upgrade to with a Dora draw or with a Sanchoku draw on the 7 bond.
What I'm curious is this. Ooh, no. Oh, no. Oh, doesn't deal into the Epots. Okay.
Yeah, with the 5 so Ricci, the 4 so in particular is dangerous, and the one part of that 1-4 Suji. Korak recognizing the danger and holding out. And maybe folding out. Might go Sha. No, 6 pin. Full Genbutsu for now.
Ooh, interesting. Yeah, just curious in general, would you have done the Pursuit Ricci?
From Korak waiting on the 6. I don't think so, but personally, I tend to be a little bit more cautious against a dealer reach. So, especially when I can't see any of the Dora, I think I would not have taken a Ricci there.
That's fair. That sounds like a really nice reasoning.
Across the way, though, Beachan's hand is getting kind of interesting. Did discard the pay, otherwise he could be dreaming a little bit.
Yeah, I can see his thoughts here that he doesn't want to drop the 7 mon because it seems pretty expensive on this board.
A little danger for Korak now. The 4 so Dora came out, and that makes the 1 so feel a little bit safer. But Korak has already started by playing Genbutsu. We'll see if he can follow it all. He might be out of tiles here, and yeah, the 1 so will come out.
Hopefully it's just Richinomi.
No! That's not Richinomi. Another Mangan, and Peter cannot stop winning Mangans. That's 3 consecutive Mangan hands, 2 of them as dealer.
Boom.
That one, Richinomi, that just slips Yuda-san, but what are you going to do against that?
I feel like I jinxed that.
Well, that's okay. Peter will thank you later. After this game's over, and might have another hand here. I mean, look, maybe we lost out on the double east chance. Maybe we have to go for 1,000 points. Does that mean Peter's not going to win this hand because it's so cheap?
Well, I mean, as dealer, 1,000 hands are worth as much as a Mangan to me because 1,000 hands means I get to keep my dealership and make another big hand later on.
Yeah, maybe I just think this is inexpensive, and we're just waiting for him to con the Haku and flip the Hatsu as the indicator. Or I guess the Chun as the indicator.
Oh yeah, that would be fun.
Who's thinking about this 6-0? Is that
Boom!
Torin? Yeah, actually, Beachen's back at it again with the Honitsu.
Curious, in general, what's the point that you think your hand is a Hongich?
Hmm. I'm in the early game. If I've got something like 3 blocks towards it and some good floating tiles, uh, I should say floating otters. If I have 2 honor pairs, that's a good indicator. If my other shapes are so bad that Honitsu is just the most straightforward path, whenever a Yakuhai is the Dora, uh, that all those things can move me in the direction of Honitsu. Is there anything that I'm missing
T!
that pushes you in that direction?
Oh yeah, no. I was just curious in general because I've heard some people talk about theory that maybe like if you have like nine tiles in a certain suit plus honor tiles, usually it's at least a fine thought of going for Hongich.
I guess that works well with my sort of 3 blocks. If they're completed blocks, they'd be 9 tiles, but most of the time they're going to be something like 4-4-5 shape and a 7-8-9 and a couple ones or something like that. Oh, we have Tempai for Beachhead. Did get there, waiting on the Dora Shah. Minko also Tempai on that Dora, and Korak is not willing to discard this or either, planning on getting a Tonki on that later. So we could have triple Roan even if Peter holds a Tempai and discards the Dora, but I suspect he probably is less inclined to. Oh, look at this weight.
Oh wow.
6 mon, 2 mon, 2 pin, 5 pin, but 2 pin is dead, and Korak
Eat.
draws the pair. So the other 2 players drawing dead at this point for their weight. It's Ricci, Pinfu, Dora 2 for Korak.
Oh, what is this? Everyone's in Tempai, wow. And I'm just curious, who paid the bomb?
Yeah, 2-5 so is not super live here. There's only 1-2 so left in the wall. Korak does have the last draw though. Haitetsumo? No.
Ah,
And in the end, no one pays, and actually Peter maintains the dealership, so doesn't win a Mangan, but also will just hold on. And this high pie looks insane again.
could be a fast one. That actually, this could be triplets. That's the one I really want to see.
Sancho Kudoko the sevens. All right, we have a plan. Forget efficiency, we're moving in one direction. Pon Pon Roan.
Exactly.
Oh, no, 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 not the 6-0 here. We're throwing that back. You draw an 8-0, right back out there. Tsumogiri. 8 mon, iranai. You, yeah, okay, he gives up on it.
There's still the chance.
Yeah, you just have to redraw a pair elsewhere. That's all it takes.
Yeah,
Oh,
rip the
Peter's
dream.
playing standard. Oh no, Peter's playing well. Whatever shall we do? And Ishanten right now, very close to just slamming the table with another Ricci. Korak, maybe the closest competitor here at the table. It's too late though.
Eat!
Ricci, Pinfu, Tanyao. 2-5, so there are 4 left in the wall. Minko holding the majority of them. There's the 2-so, the last 2-so. Korak will hold on to that for now. Trust the Sotogawa 1 pin.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Sotogawa here makes me very scared because that early forward, so some people might get, I guess, trapped in the fact. Yeah,
Dunk!
Korok is trapped in the fact that it's usually safe because efficiency says you want to keep the Forso longer, but at the end he deals it into the trap.
Yeah, there wasn't much more safe in that hand, so it does end up being 5,800 points, but all that Homba as well adds an extra 900 points. And we've got Peter at 72,000 points, still in East 2, and another high pie that just looks insane.
Like these hands, like these are amazing. Wow.
Yeah, I got the Peter experience in round 1. I can tell you it was not a fun one for me, although I did manage to survive all right at that in the end. It was definitely difficult dealing into Peter over and over again very early into some of the rounds. Already Ishanten is Peter with potential Sanonko. I guess this is Dion Shanten. Let me amend that statement.
Yan Shanten, but a fairly high chance for Chanta.
Yeah, Chanta looking super likely here. Korak is Tempai? This is Tempai for Pinfu. Why isn't he
I don't.
reached this?
Home.
It's waiting on 5-8, so there's none drawn, so they're all in the wall.
Beach.
Wait,
Yeah, he'll slam the Ricci now.
wait, is that? Oh,
He was waiting
oh,
for the
not a.
Sun Shoku upgrade.
Oh no. So I was confused because not a single tile was lining up. No one has a single 5-8. So
I mean, they're all in the wall.
Beach.
Ipatsu is live, but Minko chases. We have Peter Tempai on the Sanzo for Haku Hatsudora 1. Oh, Ipatsu will stick for Minko. What? There are only 3 tiles in the wall versus 8? And it's going to be a Hanuman. That is some pretty bad luck for Korak, I gotta say.
yeah,
You can't ask for a better Diamond weight. But Minko, Ipatsumo, Ipeko as well for Takame. And finding it all back over 30,000 points now. Peter taking the Oyakaburi as well drops him significantly below 70,000. Still at a very comfortable lead. Just needs to coast out the rest of this game and hope to build upon the early victories. We've got Korak as dealer. You know, your first dealership, you're at 1,600 points. And you just have to play it out. Hope that you can win a bomb in your dealership to come back a little bit and hopefully knock Beechin down so you have a competitor to chase. Beechin, the meanwhile, has shapes. A couple of them are strong shapes, but there's so many pair plus ones. It's difficult to tell what direction this is going. And the 5 so-cut is very interesting. David, does that indicate to you a play for Chitoy?
it might be. Yeah, I feel like this is usually Chitoy. There is a small chance that he's trying to force a Sanchok on the 6-7-8, but usually Chitoy happens more often.
Well, we see Korak dropping the 5 so as well. Now, many players would look at this and say it's Chitoy Ishanten. Korak looks at this and says this is Dian Peko Dian Shanten.
That's one way to look at this hand.
Oh. Across the way, Minko holding a lot of pairs. It's all around the table. It might be one of the fabled Toitsuba hands. Just pairs everywhere. Peter, the only player who only has, one pair, and he's Ishanten with Samenchan. Holding the 1 pin just in case he can pair that up for an insane Pinfu with Dora 2.
Yeah, no, that's a. Oh wow. Actually, that doesn't make Tenpai, but yeah, wow, that's like one of the most widest Ishantens you can get, right?
Absolutely. And holding, the 4 pin would make it a little bit wider. Even wider would be drawing like a 7 pin, 3 pin, something like that. But he's gonna hold out on this Dora. And might be a little bit of trouble if someone like Minko Ricci he is Ishanten for Chitoy. Dealer as well.
It's currently, yeah. Would you say this is a Chitoy commit at this point for Korak?
Yeah, after that 3 mod, it has to be. It's so weird the way this hand is played out.
Chi.
And wow, Peter just calls for K10 here. There's not even a Yaku. That says, I can't wait any longer. With 2 Salmenchans, it feels a bit premature, but
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised about that too, because I feel like if you have such a good Ishanten, you would usually want to stay closed.
watching Korax draws to see if he pulls in a... Well, here's the Dora. He hasn't drawn what would have been Tempai for Peter yet, so Peter would still be sitting Ishanten, even if he hadn't called.
He would, but instead he'd have a 1-pin pair Ishanten instead of a West Ishanten.
Right, that wouldn't be Tempai. At this rate, Peter might be the only player Tempai. That wouldn't be Tempai. That is Tempai for Korak, though.
Beach.
He'll wait on the Dora. Richi,
C.
Chico, Dora. Call to avoid having to draw a tile. It's Peter. Great move. Peter has the safe west to discard no matter what he draws. Uh, I always love seeing that play. Will be two players temp by Korak picking up 1500 but leaving a reach stick in the middle, and Peter, of course, taking payments at the end as well.
Oh, interesting. That's not. Yeah, I'm not used to seeing that too much, but yeah, that's a really smart way of trying to keep tempai while being able to drop like any without having to drop any danger tile.
Right, because if you I think the call also broke pots as well, which is
That too.
more than ideal. You get to do it all with that move. A great play by Peter. Korak, though, opens up with Haku Anko and says, I'm just Ishan 10 for Haku Itsu. Doesn't
Oh,
con, there might have been some incentive to Diamond Con there and try to flip yourself some extra door. Would you have con there or do you like passing?
N- personally, I wouldn't just because I want to see how this hand goes a bit more. Because I was thinking there's always a chance. Yeah, as you can see here, there's the Hongitsu chance. In which
Home.
case, a closed Hongitsu is enough to change the whole game.
Yeah, 100% agree. And even if you don't get Honitsu, just declaring Richi might be worth more than the chance at flipping yourself a Dora or two or four.
C.
But Minko across the way is going to try to shut this down. Already opened twice. And Tempai waiting on 1-4 pin for Hatsu only.
In their position, I think they just want to get over the 30k threshold and stop Korak from doing anything strange.
Absolutely. Like, priority number one is almost certainly prevent fourth place from making up any ground. And you'll have plenty of time to get over 30k. It will turn out that this hand with the Richi stick and the
Gee.
Hoba, that's enough to put you over 30k, not even including the value of the hand. And Korak is opening up here, but says, I'm not going to take the Tempai with potential Haku Itsu, most likely just Haku only. I want to get more value out of this. And so we'll cut away from the 7-so pair. That's definitely a signal to the rest of the table. Now Korak faced with a choice, Honitsu or Dorotanki?
Yeah, I think he takes the Hongi here because that's a three-sided weight, which is, if you ask me, is very strong for even like whether Ron or Sumo.
Absolutely. And Peter sees that 1-so come out, says, you've dropped a pair, and then you dropped Dora. I'm out. I'm just going to follow whatever you cut. Peter might even think about trying to Sashikomi into Minko, because all the Dora are out. His hand is very low value, and there it is. 4 min comes right out. I think that's what Peter was hoping for with that discard. And that will end the threat.
The one thing I was curious for Korak's hand there, is there ever a world that you just say, okay, so this is a three-sided weight, but let's just take the North Tanki?
Well, Korak definitely is a player who enjoys a Peitanki. Very vocal about that. I think you have to take the 3-sided weight.
Yeah,
If
like
you had some sort of read that someone might drop the pay, maybe you hold it, you take it. I don't know how many were out at that time, but I suspect because of how transparent the hand was, players have no incentive to drop that whatsoever. So I think just taking the largest sumo chance is probably ideal there.
that's fair.
Bicha now takes the dealership in East 4. Haipai says could be Pinfu Tanya with ideal draws. Still holding this 2-mon just in case we can draw a door, perhaps. A 3-mon would accept a door nicely. Amiko on the right. Ishantan, technically. Potential Richi Ipeko. Across the way, 5 pairs. Jito Ishantan. Hoping for door 2 is Peter. And on the left, Korak working with potential Sanshoku. Trying to find a way to make this work. The 5-so is a good draw, but not good if you're trying to get Sanshoku. Unless you can somehow turn into 3-4-5.
That seems like option by itself too. Yeah, could also just be going for the good old Richi pin for possible Ipeko.
Yeah, and here if you draw the 3-mon, you can reach you with a 2. So if you win on the 2-mon, you have Ipeko. If you win on the 5, you have Sanchoku. So it's very ideal. And it's also just generally a wide Ishan 10 that can accept Dora as well for Ricci Penfudora, and so I really like this move.
Okay, so something I forgot. Does this rule set have Nagashi Mangan?
We do not. Looks like our dealer is kind of moving that direction.
Yeah, because if there was Nagashi Mangan, I was gonna ask when do you commit to Nagashi Mangan, but I guess you can't really do that in this mode.
No, and especially as dealer, you don't want to give up your West pair for a chance when you still have to draw. How many tiles would have been at that point? Something like 7. Yeah, that's a few too many to rely on. Oh, we've got Minko still Ishantan. Korak has played this hand back around to potential 2-4 Sanchoku chance. We need to draw the 5 so or 5 pin, I believe. Oh, well, there's the 5 pin. It's Furi 10.
As last place, how happy are you with the
Gee.
Furuten?
Not very, but I mean, can you really be that upset? I think any Tempai is good. It doesn't take the Ricci here because the weight is very dead. There's what, two pins and a 5 so from his perspective. Says, you know what, I'm just going to go for it. We'll see how Beachhead responds here. Sha is the play, not willing to fight so directly, but still aiming to find a Tempai for Tanyao. Quark really needs to find the last 2 pin here.
I'm curious, was that Ricci more of a value Ricci or more of a pressure Ricci?
I think,
Because I know, yeah, because if you look at his outs, 2-5 pin is almost dead on the board.
yeah, but I think Korak, that's why he didn't reach you in the first place. He didn't really believe that he could win, and then said, you know what, I have to believe I can win. Because I think he would prefer if Beechin retained the dealership, honestly, so that he could get another round at things, which makes me feel like it was less of a pressure Ricci and more of just, I have to Tsumo anyway, so I might as well Ricci, right?
Yeah, that does make sense, yep.
But that's just guessing. We'll hear later, after all of his games, Korak are done for the night. Korak always does a review of the logs, and wow, already a Ricci from Minko. They're always very insightful, so looking forward to hearing about it later. One of the benefits of being a member of the league is you get to tune in to all those reviews.
You know, one thing I find amazing is that the people here, when as a dealer, even if it's a bad Ricci, like they don't even think; they just click the Ricci button. That's what I'm really surprised about.
Yeah, and noticeably, it's been Minko who's done this a couple times. In this case, in East 1, it was Ricci Nomi, just on a Kanchan, slammed it. And in this hand, it's Ricci Chun, which is better, on a Kanchan, slams it. Yeah, just willing to apply the pressure as dealer and say, you are all stuck with me. You have to decide if you want to fight or not. It's a style that works very well against a playstyle like mine. But we saw Minko get a little bit punished in East 1 when he took this early Ricci. It looks like no one's quite got the hand to punish him this time around, though.
One thing I'm a bit sad is that 4 pin might have been a great Jamin wait for possibly Ibeko, but I guess there's no way you can hope for that without like waiting too long, and especially with that you're giving up an early dealer Ricci. So I can see the idea of just going insta Ricci.
Yeah, depending on how long that 2 pin was sitting in Beechin's hand, that might have just left the hand before the Ricci came out. So could have been winning something like 2,000 points.
Yeah, curious. Especially with this type of hand when you have Yaku high, do you ever think about just Dama?
No Ura, but the 2 pin came out anyway as the 4 pin upgrade turned into a 1 chance and allowed caused Peter to trial it out there. Regards to your question, yeah, I think if you have the ability to win if you Dama, you can definitely think about it. Let's see, what were the potential upgrades there for Miko? 4 pin was obviously very ideal. Was there anything else that was super strong? Probably not,
Yeah.
because most Shampones, I think, resulted in like a 4-mon three pin shabo or something along those lines. Maybe you draw three pin get in a Totsu weight, but with central tiles like three 6 pin and 4 mon. Not super great. So because you're only waiting on really three good potential upgrades, I think maybe just taking the Ricci is absolutely acceptable there.
Speaking of that, who's Tenpai already? That
Beachhead.
Dom.
Surprise! So this is very funny because Beachen has a reputation for damaing Pinfunomi. Just it's a bad EV play to reach Pinfu when you can't see the Dora. Just takes the dama a lot. This time it was not Pinfunomi.
wow, that's like what was that? Like turn 5?
Insanely fast. And the funny thing was, Minko drew that 5 mon, didn't have any connectors in his hand, but his hand was so bad that he needed a floating tile, and the 5 mon was a good floater. Korak's hand was actually good, and he was trying to Sakigiri that 5 mon because he already had a 7-8 Diamen. And it's not Sakigiri if they're just already Tempai for it. It's insanely fast.
Like, let me ask you, how often can you try to read someone being in Dama?
Not on turn 5 most of the time. And he was, I think, Tempai for a full turn before that, maybe. So it was way too early to start reading that. I mean, sometimes you can read an early Tempai if there's calls and like central tile cuts or Dora cuts, but there was no such indicators here. In the meantime, Peter back on the winning ways path. Maybe we've got an early Ricci Pinfu, waiting 6-9 Mon with 4 tiles left in the wall.
Curious. In general, like, do you see how that 7 mon there was discarded? Do you think a lot of people in the higher levels care more about trying to trap people with like Tsuji trapped or like what you got Sotogawa traps in general?
I definitely think it's a consideration if your shapes are good enough. A lot of times people will just discard away from that Diamond pair combo, especially on a Class A Diamond like the 6-9. Then set up that trap because a lot of people will rely on it if they've got nothing else. We'll see Minko's drawn the majority of the winning tiles here, and decides, you know what, I've got not much better, so let's go for it.
Yeah, it's also one chance, so I can see why he feels like it's safe.
Yeah, and that really also is a powerful part of discarding that tile is, it's Genbutsu, so the 7 mon gets followed by somebody and followed by a third person who's folding. All of a sudden is one chance, and Sotogawa. It really helps improve the odds that you're going to win that. Peter now up to 63,000 points, and high pie again very strong. We've seen Peter with some incredible deep dealer high pie this series. Looking at the right though, Korak's got a hand that I am in love with. It's got a chance at 2-3-4 Sanchoku. And of course, everyone knows that 2-3-4 Sanchoku is the best Sanchoku in the game. If he draws a 6-pin, that is going to be a Mangan already.
Now, the question I have for that is, do you ever call the 3 mon and go for the Tanki?
For only 3,900, I don't think that's enough for Korak.
Fair.
If it was a closer situation, he might do it. I don't think that's the situation here. Because the 6-pin is so easily used by most players, unless someone's looks like they're showing Honitsu in a non-pin suit, I probably wouldn't like to Tanki on it. Oh, actually, he does take it. Okay.
It's Korak.
I wonder if that was caused at all by the chi from dealer. Korak saying, I need to match the speed.
That's fair. That could be a big thing. Yeah, 'cause
Ricci.
I guess as last place, yes, it's sad to not be able to win a big hand, but I guess it's even more sad if you have other people earn more points.
And we're going to see Beachhead with an opportunity to take more points. It is Arichi Nomi waiting on a Shabo 9-pin 3-so. He really likes this 9 pin. If someone draws it, it almost certainly comes out because Peter's open for Tanyao, Korak is open for Tanyao. Peter gets a chance at 567 Sanshoku, but all the 5-so are held by Bichen. The 8-so, that is still live though. Korak kind of just forced to fight here. There are no more 6 pins at the wall. I don't think Minko's going to drop it. Peter's certainly not going to drop it, so Korak drawing dead here. Just needs to not draw an 8-so and not draw the 9 pin or 3-so either. I guess all the 3-so are gone, but there still is one more 9 pin and 2 8-so in the wall.
I'm surprised how much people are not folding here.
Yeah, Minko's had a fairly easy path to push here. Only had to really shove that 8-mon, but that doesn't look too bad. And I think it might have been cleared by Peter earlier. So these 1-sos all were safe. West passes. And with Dora 2, Minko feels like he has a good opportunity here to fight. Oh, there's the 9 pin. It just looks so safe. Korak recognizes the Kabe on the 8 pin and asks the question, I can see, 2 9 pins. One's discarded, one is the one that I just drew. Where are the other 2? They're not going to be in Peter's hand. That's a Tanyao. They're not going to be in Minko's hand. That's a Tanyao. I'm a Tanyao. So either they're in the wall or they're in Bichen's hand. There's a chance that they're in Minko's hand and he's just calling for K10. But there's also a decent chance that he would have just played out the 9 pin pair if he had it. So there was a slight chance that the 9 pin dealt in, but you just have to take that risk. You've shoved everything else here.
Yeah. I'm interested in the fact that that was the specific tile that he stopped and thought about it for a second.
Yeah, and that's a really, interesting part of Kabe. When all 4 of a tile are out, like the 7 pin or the 8 pin, you look at the remaining tiles on that side because you can't make a Jiamen out of them. So a lot of players will just discard those. And when you can't see them all, or you can only see one, a big question is, where are the others? Why haven't they come out? Who is holding the pair so that I deal into them? That's I always think somewhat pessimistically about that, and sometimes to my detriment, causes me to fold on those. But I think in this situation for Korak, there was no choice but to push.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, usually, even if I know that, I would think that someone's just using it as a pair, and I'm hoping they're on a Jamin wait.
Right, yeah, even if you know they have the pair, exactly as you said, it doesn't have to be a Shabo. It could be the pair in their hand, right? And they just have a better weight. So definitely an optimistic way of thinking about it. Korak will just look at this Ricci and slam it because it's Ricci +1. There are, of course, some upgrade draws for him. Tumon, for example, would give Sanshoku and Tudora. This 8-mon is a Jiamen upgrade. But Korak is an advocate of C button, press button. As is Minko, we saw earlier in this game.
But yeah, I guess, especially in this case of dealer, like, even though your last place, you're dealer, and you have one door in your hand, I can totally see the reason why he wants to just Insta-Reach. Would you have Insta-Reach, though?
Personally, I don't think I would. I tend to be a little more optimistic on my upgrade chances. But we were getting to the middle of the second row, and Minko had already opened, so there was a lot of pressure to take the reach as soon as possible and to shut down the hand that's trying to kill your dealership.
Yeah, that's fair.
Even if Korak doesn't win this hand, it will very likely go to Ryukyoku, and he'll be able to try again.
Yep, that's fair. I'm also wondering if some consideration was the fact that he dropped the 1-mon before, so it loses one of his possible upgrades.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I think so. You if you draw the 6-mon, you'd just sumo. I don't think you should Tenrichi that. If you draw the 3-mon, then you'd have that Furiten. But you could redraw the 1 or the 4 and be happy. You could draw the 8 and be happy. You could draw the 2 and be happy. I think there are more upgrade tiles than the Furiten with the 1-mon. So I'm not sure if that played a huge role in the thinking. But as expected, we do go to Ryukoku. Korak is picking up points here, and we'll get to try again as dealer.
Reminds me, something I have to ask in general. Are you usually sometimes more afraid of depending on what place they are, more afraid of some reaches than others? Like, for example, are you usually more afraid like a fourth place reaching than someone like a second place reaching?
Definitely fourth place is reaching. Um, I get an immediate instinctive response of don't deal in the fourth because that will put you in fourth. But also depends to some degree on how close you are to the fourth place and if you feel that you have more value in the hand than they do. A lot of times, if there's a large gap, fourth place won't take the Ricci unless they've got, they've constructed the hand that's worth something to them. If they're the dealer, of course, that's a little bit different. And if the gap is, huge, if you're deep negative, sometimes you'll just Ricci, for 3,900 because it's so far to catch up to somebody. Your goals, your priority is a little bit different. You just want to keep someone else below 30,000, so that can also affect it too. But yeah, I guess I typically don't like first place Ricci, and I don't like fourth place Ricci. Second place is whatever, unless I'm super
Ah,
close to them. A lot of times, if second place is reaching and I'm in third, I might want to fight them because I don't want them to get farther away from me.
ooh. Korak calls, and as soon as that happens, two reaches on the board. Oh gosh, isn't that the worst feeling?
Well, it is somewhat liberating because Korak can now pseudo defend it. Oh my goodness. I was gonna say try to get to K10, but not when there's Ipatsumo. And surprise, surprise, it's Peter with another Mangan.
Oya Kaburi. Oh gosh, this is just not a good day for Korak, is it?
It is not, but on the other hand, Peter has been having an extremely good game. He's absolutely loving what's happening here, and with that sumo, that puts Minko very close to the 30,000 mark. If Peter can somehow knock Minko below 30,000, or if another player were to cause that to happen, Peter would be the only player above the starting points, which would mean an extra bonus 5 points of Uma, a very big mark for him. Similarly, Korak does not want to be the only player below 30,000, so his goal is to keep Bichen down below 30,000 with him, and if possible, make sure that if Bichen wins a hand and we repeat as dealer, maybe bring Minko down below 30,000. So it's not like there's nothing to play for from Korak's perspective, despite being so far in fourth place.
Oh, Now, what I'm curious right now is the dealer's hand a Hongitsu? Because I'm curious why he's dropping the a lot of the Yaokoi so willingly. Do you think he's not completely committed to a Hongitsu yet?
I would agree. Yeah, I think Bichen, more than trying to force Honitsu's, just wants to put a hand together. And if it turns into Honitsu or Chinitsu, then so be it. But that's not priority number one. Oh my goodness. Back to back Montile fills from Korak for Ricci, Pinfu, Itsudora. Finally a hand worth going for. And it's unfortunately a little late in the game. Hopefully he wins it though. If he doesn't, it will be like my game on Thursday where every single one of my Ricci's got chased. And that could get chased, got chased. And there it is. Okay,
Oh,
Ricci, Sumo,
nice.
Pinfu, Itsudora. It's going to be a Hanemon minimum.
Onura.
Only one Uda, so it will be a Hanemon to finish it off. And that feels really good to get back into the positives before the end of the game. It's only minus 44, so as difficult as that game was going, it's only minus 44. I took a minus 50 a couple days ago, so it's already doing better than me. And Bichen, minus 13.03. Minko, because that Sumo drops below 30,000. And so Peter, has to pay out 3,000 points of payment for that Hanuman Sumo, but also picks up the bonus 5 points of Uma, so nets a +2 gain as a result of that Hane Sumo.
Oh wow. Yeah, no. I'm just I feel very sad for Minko here. Again, I always hate the feeling you're second place, but you're negative Uma. I really hate that feeling.
Yeah, I mean, Minko had that one early deal in and then played great, won a bunch of big hands to come back over 30,000. And then the sumo started again. He got drawn back below with a Mangan sumo from Peter and a Hanuman sumo from Korak. So um, no one's gonna let you get your positive Uma easily here. And for Peter though, that what a great game.
Oh yeah, no, that was a really great game for him. Overall, I will have to say I was really surprised how much people were pushing and like yes, there were times people were fooled, but once a lot of times in here I noticed that once people committed to offense, they were not folding. I was really I was really surprised how often that happened.
That's kind of interesting. The way it worked out was almost, there were a lot of sumos in this game. There were a few deal-ins, and the majority of the deal-ins were from people who were folding, not from the people who were pushing.
So is offense the best defense?
Some players will make that case. Definitely in this situation, there were a lot of early reaches taken by dealers on trap weights, and Beachhead took a Ricci on a trap weight, and so these players definitely aware uh, that their opponents are aware of what is a good weight and what is a bad weight, and they're choosing to either Ricci early in the case of Binko, where it's hard to just you can't tell what the weight is, and in the case of Beachhead, intentionally choosing a weight that isn't very strong, but becomes stronger because other players will defend by discarding the winning tile.
But yeah, overall that was a really fun game to watch.
Yeah, that was quite entertaining. And I do want to note they have started the second game already. So in about a minute, we're going to be live with game number 2 from this table. Um, I know one thing that Korak likes to do after taking a loss is look at the log and see, was I playing poorly? Were my reads correct? And if he's playing fine and just got unlucky, he's very good at just sort of wiping that game out of his mind. I think that's a skill that a lot of us can aspire to. The result doesn't really matter so much as long as you are playing well, because if you can consistently, if you can maintain strong play, then the variance goes up, goes down, but the positive variance will compensate for the negative variance, and you'll at least be average.
Yep, and I feel like that's the most important thing, the mindset there. Because yep, I've had quite a few times where once I get fourth, it just seems like the fourth place never ends because I tilt too much.
Yeah. And the fact that there was not a very long pause in between games, I get the sense that Quack took a brief look and said, yeah, I played that right. I got a little bit of lucky, and let's go again. I'll get you in this game. And we are going into game number 2. It is going to be Peter as the first dealer this time. Of course, in the last one, we saw Peter with some insane high pie as dealer. This one, less strong. What do you think?
It doesn't seem too strong. Yeah, he's gonna need quite a few good shapes because I only see one Drummond shape right now. Usually a pretty slow hand.
The right, Gorak with Pinfu type blocks and a Dora, hoping to pair that up. Across the way, Bichen has the East pair, can open up for East only really at this point. Can also just try to stay closed and have a very fun Shampoo Richi. The left Binko is opened up already for Hatsu. Hatsu only. Now looking for a pair and an abundance of Diamond shapes.
Boom.
Now if you're Peter here, are you just going for Chitui or are you trying to turn this into Tanya?
Personally, ooh, that one change. Like before that specific draw, I'd be Tanya, but because of that specific draw, I think I have to go Chitoy.
Yeah, 5-pin, not necessarily a full commit. It is somewhat efficient to cut the 5-pin in, depending on how you foresee your final blocks, but we do have Tempai on the left for Miko, did pair up the E4 pin, and is now waiting 6-9, so for Hatsu only.
Yep. I mean, a 1,000 hand is a pretty good way to start the game, right?
Well, especially when Peter's dealer. I mean, we've seen what happens when you let Peter be dealer for too long. We also have a Tempai from Beacon across the table now. For East only, another 1,000 point hand. 3-6 so.
Ooh, interesting. So 6-0 would be a double drone here?
It would. Oh, there's a Dora pair
Takes the Dama? Wait, interesting. Dama 2-pin.
on the 6 pin.
리치.
Oh, and then takes the Ricci. Nakasuji trap. Likes the 6 more than the 2 here.
Yeah, I'm curious because if that was me, I would insta-reach for the 2-pin. What about you?
I think I would do the same. We dropped the 5 pin intentionally to set up the Suji trap, and 3 of the 1 pins have been discarded. I don't even mind the fact that one of the 2 pins is out. It just makes it less likely that I'm waiting on it for a Shampoo wait. So I think I would have slammed it immediately, but this Nakasuji Ricci is also quite intriguing.
What I'm also intrigued is the fact that he decided to go for like Tsumogiri reach instead of changing it with the 3-pin in his hand. Oh,
Yeah, we do have the Tsumo from Minko who does pick up the Ricci stick and shut down the big hand. But I think I agree with you. If I just cut 2 pin and then I Tsumogiri 3 pin, something weird happened, right? If I cut 2 pin and then I cut 3 pin from my hand Ricci, it looks like I just cut a Diamond. Now you might wonder, why in the world are you cutting a 2-3 pin Diamond? What shape is better than that? But there, you can try to justify it in your head, and you won't necessarily be thinking so much that that 3 pin's coming out to set up the Nakasuji trap. So I think I agree with you. I like the Karagiri there. A lot of times I don't like the Karagiri, but when I'm reaching, most of the time I think I do. And in this instance, especially because we would be cutting away from an entire shape. I think I do.
okay. This hand. How often does Beacon get the Yakuman?
Well, given that there's still 2 Haku in the wall, was once cut. I can't put a number on it, but I'm really rooting for it. I'll say that much.
I mean, yes, I like at the very least I want to see Sananko, not Sananko, what you call small 3 dragons at the very least.
Shosangen. Here's the second Hatsu.
펑.
Pon Shosangen possible, and table alerted to the danger. Now, I cannot wait to see if someone does draw the Haku that's not Bichen. How eager they are to toss that out.
Yeah, I feel like in this case that's just an auto fold or go for Tanki.
Oh, look at this 5 pin cut. Bichen says, you know what? Maybe this is just Shosangen Chanta.
Interesting. Does not I like the move because you have the Dora already, so it's more of a trap to not, I guess, have people defend against your possible Hongich. That's an interesting drop there.
Yeah, with the 5 pin cut, I think Minko's going to be a little more hesitant to cut this Haku.
Oh, well, I
looks...
mean, let me ask you, would that Haku have ever gone out in the first place for you?
No, not for me. If it was right after the Hotspon, maybe.
Yeah, this is the
but
one.
in Armel, where Yakuman is deadly, I don't think so.
Ooh, interesting. So now that you have a pair of whites, are you more okay with the pushing?
I think I'm still a little bit wary, but I'm not scared of Yakuman, so I'll shove a little bit more than I would otherwise. I don't know if how much more, but I guess we'll find out. I think Minko is a little bit more aggressive, so
강.
oh, Khan? Well, that's pretty aggressive.
On.
Korak says, I have Jianmin Tempai. I can con this just fine. This is Tempai. Peter can't cut the safe 4 pin. Does a Dama here. And Totsu wait, it's Huriten. So all sorts of reasons to not reach this.
Oh.
스모.
Okay.
Who cares?
What would have been Ipatsumo?
Would have been Ipashima. Should have just reached it, right?
Yeah, I guess. Look, that's just hindsight bias. That's at least that's what I'd be telling myself as I accept my 2,000 points from around the table.
I mean, to be honest, I'm happy to see that. Yeah, that whatever that maybe not show Sangen, but whatever that possibly big hand is doesn't win.
Yeah, Minko can at least
Chi.
be relieved that that shutdown looked like a monster. Bishan not done yet though, has a Dora shape and excellent blocks elsewhere. Minko again opening up here, and maybe this is an adjustment. Minko actually was pretty willing to open in the previous game, but I wonder if players will adjust it all and just open up more frequently to try to stop these closed hands. We had enough Mangan symbols for Richi's.
Yeah, curious. How often and when do you decide to change your playing style depending on your opponents?
Usually I'll decide how I want to play before the series starts, and I won't adjust too much, at least in the first couple games, unless I notice something is not going the way that I thought it was going to. Especially if you look at the logs in between and see that players are not playing the way you expect them to. So I don't think this call is too far off of Minko's regular playstyle, especially because he's in the lead and the 7 so filled a bad
Kong.
shape, and he already had a Yakuhai. Khan's into Tempai, okay. Waiting on the 6 Mon. Would really like to have a better weight than a 6 Mon, but he'll take it for the time
Curious.
being.
Yeah, do you like this Diamond Con?
Mm, mm. On some tables, I think it's fine. I'm a little concerned on this table because of how
Chi.
Mangan a lot of these players are. Ricci can be a little bit more catastrophic. If I already had a good weight, I think I would like it a lot more. And I think Minko took that Chi anticipating that he would climb in the future. So I think he's at least playing to his plan for the hand. Ended up revealing the West to be Dora, which is fairly... I guess it was Shopai at the time, but it has since come out from dealers, so...
Oh yeah, interesting how little West has come out so far.
And now, two more players have opened, so you're not feeling so bad about this anymore. Other than the fact that Korak might have a pair of Wests, or probably not a pair at this point, but might be on West Tonki.
Seems like a high chance for a Hongitsu with that hand.
Chi.
Ooh, upgrade.
Does the 7 Mon pass? I don't see any reason not to drop the 7.
The only one reason I would see is because your hand is too predictable. Because if you drop the 7 mon, usually that means you're waiting on the 3-6.
Right.
Ah, Korak takes the 3 so Tanki over to the 3-6 wait?
Yeah, cannot drop the Dora, especially because it's not seen from anyone. And ooh, Khan? Oh, it's Jiamen weight because all the 8 Mons are gone.
It's a 3-sided wait, actually.
Well, all the 8 Mons are gone, so...
Oh, yeah.
Like pseudo Jiamen weight? Beachin not willing to risk it, though.
Ooh, what's the drop here?
You could justify the 4 Mon. Yeah, okay, Minko playing strong.
That's an amazing dodge. How often are you able to do that dodge?
Yeah, oh, well, West is not really how you want to drop. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It was a good dodge, but you don't drop the West in that position ever, do you? Wow,
I
that's a
don't
manga.
think so. Not when Korak is Onitsu, and we all know how much Korak loves to Dora Tonki. And because of the Hote, though, that did cause a Mangan, and that's a really painful hit to Minko. I wonder in that situation if you held the 5 Mon because you thought it was dangerous, and you draw the West there, if you're just supposed to try to fold with a pin tile. I don't know if there were any good safe pin tiles, but...
Like, there might have been one or two that, like, there might have been safe to one or two people, but I don't think it would have been safe to everyone.
Yeah, I guess you're probably not that worried about... You're probably... I actually can't. I was gonna say you're probably less concerned about Peter than the dealer, but dealer has all the incentive in the world to take a tenpai,
Eat.
even if they're not, even if they don't have the Dora pair. So difficult to say. In the meantime, we will have a Ricci from Minko. This is Ricci Pinfu Dora. Oh, well, it's just Ricci Pinfu Dora, waiting 5-7. Sorry, 5-8. So
Interestingly, oh no, actually the dealer's just getting safe tile after safe tile. I was gonna say they look dangerous tiles, but they don't.
yeah, and the Sanzo
Gee.
Beachin needs to cut here is Suji to the door that
In-
came out.
That's a really interesting chi there. Do you take that chi usually when you're Ishanten from Richi Pinfu 1 as dealer?
The only reason I might do it is because the 6-mon is Gembutsu to the Ricci. If that wasn't the case, I definitely wouldn't. Even here, I probably... Well, the 9-mon is thrice out, and the 6 is twice out as well. So you might have to actually take that.
Interesting. Okay.
Just give yourself a chance, because I don't... If you don't take that, I'm not sure that you can take the 6-mon if it comes out.
Yeah, because if it's a normal tiny, that's one thing. Personally, what I really don't like is that 7-8 month still has the chance for the 9 month Furiten.
Yeah. Well, doesn't anymore. Here's the 6. Do we push the 2? So looks
Gee.
kind of bad,
As,
and so he doesn't do it.
yeah, that's why. Yeah, I was gonna say as dealer you can justify it, but the fact that you only know where one of the Dora is, maybe 2 mon is a bit safer. Ooh, they're just.
Very Beachin move to Chew there and just fight for K10, or fight to Mawashi towards the hand, but will be Tsumo said from Minko no Ura, so just the 5,200 points, with Beachin paying 2,600 of it, and it will move us into Minko's dealership. East 4, first chance is the dealer. We have a door accepting 9-pin that will quickly leave the hand as the shapes are becoming better elsewhere. 2 Dora in Peter's hand on the right, 8-pin pair. And that hand's actually Ishanten with Diamen, Diankan. Shapes, excellent. Shapes to have after 4 discards. Quark across the way, probably going to move towards a So Honitsu, but still holding the 7-9 pin in case a door is drawn and he can slam a Ricci. And on the left, Bichen also pretty strong shapes here. Maybe thinking about 5, 6, 7 Sanjuku with the Peiko odds as well.
Oh wow. Well, I
Eat.
think this is the insta reach, right? Yep. Ooh, goes for the this is has a Chanta chance actually.
Yeah, one so of course the standard
Eat.
cut, unless you've got this Chanta. Potential monster from Korak now.
Dealer
Chase,
chasing with Ricci. That's Ricci Ipe Tanya.
yeah, 7,700 minimum. Good value for a chase, but the weight is definitely a little worse. Typically, however, there are 3, 4. Oh,
Don't.
there's the 9.
Oh no, that is expensive.
Ooh, Uda as
Ura
well.
2.
And just like that, Korak hops into first place. Chanta, closed Chanta, Ipeco as well, and Uda too. Korak right back in the thick of things. In first place currently, has Beachan to fight. And Peter, after dealing in, is now going to have to try to make something out of this high pie. It feels like he used all his luck in the previous game, because this one is going to be a struggle. He spent a long time thinking about his initial 14 tiles, probably counting to see how many he had towards Kokshi.
Yeah, so that was 8 in a pair. I was wondering if he was gonna try to force trying to play a forceful say Hongichi, but apparently he decides to take just efficiency.
Yeah, I think maybe the 6-mon pair was the first draw, and so he decided, I've got enough blocks to just try to play for a normal hand. And it's
I will.
it's starting to come together.
Yeah, no, this looks a lot better than what it looked like at the beginning.
Oh wow, drops the Tuso because he really believes in this Hatsutanki. I guess you already have a pair, but yeah, okay. Swaps that out for a Diankan shape. So we'll just be Richinomi here, but Ishanten.
Yeah, I think as dealer, you just have to be happy with this.
I'm given where the hand started. Sure, I'd be happy with it.
Is that Tempai or is that... Yeah, that's Tempai. Ooh, take the Dama. Do you like the Dama here?
Yeah, I would also Dama this. It's Richi Tanyo, so you can justify slamming it. All the Dora are out. Sorry, two of the Dora are out, so it's very difficult for other people to use Dora. That incentivizes you to slam deep more. Now, I will say you can, instead of Damaing here, you can just cut the 6-0 and draw back a Shanten and say, I've got good shapes to draw into a better tempo. But Bichon will find the 5, so, and just take the Sumo here for Sumo Tanyao. It's a very Bichon move.
It does put him into first place, so I see the merit in there.
Yeah, we've discussed before Bichen's sort of penchant for taking Dama Pinfu weights. In this case, it was a Dama Kanchan on a central tile. But that's the power of being just holding a tempai. You can sometimes just win.
Boom.
Looks like Minko's aiming to shut this particular dealership down. It feels like he's been doing it a lot on Korak's dealership over the course of these two games. Hatsupon, maybe a Toy Toy in the future.
I was gonna say, do you ever think he'd reach for Toy Toy?
I definitely think he's thinking about it. Yeah, it does not take that 3-mon.
Because in his position being third place, I don't see any, I guess, big need to try to force a 1,000 yet.
Chi.
Okay, maybe
but
second time.
it's second time.
It's like,
Each.
oh wow, Korak
Boom.
got Tempai anyway. Pulled into Tempai, so we have two players in position,
Sumo.
but it's gonna get that Sumo to Korak. Ura-san!
Ura 3, wow.
And
Now the wall is loving him.
just like that, Korak right back into first place. Vichit couldn't hold it for long. 51,000 points.
That's one of the best feelings ever. As dealer getting Ura 3, wow, that just makes my day.
Yeah, Richi Sumo Ura-san. Minko almost fortunate that he pwned there because he would have drawn that 9-pin and probably dealt it in otherwise. I guess he could have dropped the 8-pin as well, but we're in South 2, repeat 1. East is the Dora. None held. 1 discarded already. These are blocks for Korak. But he's looking for improvements. He wants to turn this into Tanyao Sanshoku.
Ooh, interesting. Oh, interesting. Okay, that's one way to go through that.
Yeah, if we'd cut something like the 8-so before, we'd be Tempai now on just 4-pin for Richinomi. So you're not even really feeling sad about this. And here's that shift to Tanyao. Speaking of Sanchoku, on the right, Bichen might be working towards 7-8-9. A lot of draws have you discarding the 9-pin, including this draw into Tempai. Not willing to take this Kanchan Richi, though.
Curious how Arthur wants to play this hand.
7-pin looks like a play for the Puln. You could have a potentially very dirty Sudi trap if you draw the 2 or 5-mon.
Oh, Nakatsuji, yep.
Nakasuji and also Richi Suji if you cut the 5-pin. But I think we're seeing opponent to Tempai. So it's Tanyo only, waiting 2-mon, 5-mon, 3-pin.
Boom.
Peter calls for Ishanten. Might be in trouble unless he draws the 3 mon. It looks like he's going to be dealing in once he reaches Tempai. But it'll be fairly inexpensive.
Ooh.
Instead, Minko draws the East and has second thoughts about discarding that. We'll deal in 1800, including the Hoba. And Korak has another hand.
This is a pretty nice starting hand for Korak, though I'm curious. It feels like a lot of times this becomes a closed Ricci, but it also feels like there's a chance for a Tanya sometimes.
Yeah, I suspect it depends on who's piloting the hand. I think there are some players where this is almost always Ricci, and some players who will turn this into a Tanya no matter what.
On the right there, do you think that's Hongich, or does that seem more Chitoi to you?
Indetermined. Oh, 7-0 backfire.
Opposite here, I'm guessing that looks more like a Ricci Pimfu. Might even drop the north for Tanya Pimfu for Reed sometimes, right?
Definitely a possibility for Minko. I mean, you've got 2 Dora, so if you, depending on what you draw, there's some incentive to just cut Pei, maybe start calling for Tanya. Oh,
Oh,
well, just gonna slam the Ricci after drawing the ideal 7-pin. And I think I would also take this Ricci.
yeah. I mean, as third third place, you don't want fourth place crawling onto you. A Ricci Pimfu Dora 2. I think I'm happy every day with this.
Yeah, we've set up the Sotogawa trap on the One-So as well. It's sad that we have to drop a Dora, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Oh yeah, so it's Ricci 1, yeah. On the left here, do you think they're
Sumo.
able? Okay, it doesn't matter.
Abicha dodging nicely through the One-So, and if he was trying to push, probably could have justified throwing it out. But as a result, dodged nicely will be another 5,200 points for Minko, and the dealership will pass to Beachhead in South 3.
With this type of hand here, how happy are you for Minko to just play open for 1,000?
Mm. We do have a dealership to follow. It looks like we're frozen. We can draw into Dora. If we can pick up like 2,000, I think that's fine. I think those shapes were probably good enough that it's okay to stay closed past the first June. Hasn't had to make a choice on that yet. What do you think?
At yeah, again with 1,000, I'm not as too tempted. With 2,000, yeah, that like if I can get the Dora 6-0 here, I'm not that sad. I'm pretty actually happy about playing open with this hand.
The thing is, if we win 2,000 points, then like pick up 2,900 to get over 30k. We're at what 31,000, but we're still dealer, and there's a Homba. So most sumos are going to drop us right back below 30,000. It is definitely a kind of tricky spot to be in.
Now the bigger question here is this Hongich?
Yeah, I think in this position, definitely the more intriguing thought. I think it might be too late though. Actually, we have a Tempai Dama Tanyao Sanshoku waiting on the 7 mon for 5,200 points. Quark also opening up his hand for Tanyao Dora 1, waiting for 7 mon. So 7 mon discard would be a double roll. Oh,
Yeah, I was just about to ask, because of that call there, do you call Ricci now?
it definitely looks like that was the decision for Peter. Typically, players don't wait 1 turn before reaching. Unless something has changed in between those draws. In this case, that call was the difference, the in-between state.
Curious, will this ever be a fold for him? Because he's on a Draman weight, but it's going against last place. Yeah, I was gonna ask, because it's last place Ricci, is there a chance that he folds this hand?
I don't think it's necessarily last place that's making him fold. The Manzu just looks like a very expensive suit in general.
That's fair. That's a totally viable reason.
Like, he could justify the 5-pin cut because it was half suited to the 8, and I think there were 4 pins out at the time, so it's one chance on the other side. But the 8 Mon doesn't really have the same type of defensive blockage, so a little more reasonable to fold on that.
Oh, looking at it, yeah, the 7 mon is essentially dead right now. I think Korak might cheat this to block. Ooh, does not decide to cheat. I'm curious. Do you ever want to try to cheat this just to make sure that the person Ricci doesn't get high tay?
I do. I've gotten burned by that before, and Beechin certainly doesn't want to eat Oyakaburi for a Mangan here. But lets that pass and doesn't get burned this time. On to Minko's dealership. And wow, Tudora. Nice pin shape. Yaman in the Sozu. Looking good.
I'm curious how Beachan plays their hand.
Yeah, it's got 4 pairs and a Dora. It can be opened with a Hatsu call. I wonder where Beechen is in the standings right now. Kind of almost at 0.
Oh, is week 2 enough for you to start playing the look at standings and play based on that?
No, it's a little too early for that, I think. But I would say if Beechen was up at the top, like first or second or third, something like that, he might be willing to just take a plus 10 here with an open 1,000 points. Probably less willing to do that from the deep negatives. Because he's right in the middle, it's hard to say. Does choose to open here, so aiming for the 2,000 points.
What I'm curious here is when the dealer gets Tenpai, is that a Dama or a Ricci?
It's Minko, so I believe it will be a Ricci.
Fair, even. Oh, yeah, I guess Tanya's not confirmed, so Dama's not worth as much.
Yeah, 9 so starting to filter out, though. Only 2 of those left in the wall, so looking more likely to be Tanya. And this 8 so versus the 3 pin is a nice little switch. He can pull Dora. And he can also just choose to not be on Tanya. It has more options to not be Tanya.
Yeah, do you think this usually ends up with him calling open?
There's a decent number of situations where he would call yes. Speaking of which, Korak also considering opening here, but look at the value of his hand. Junchan's on Shoku.
Oh yeah, no, that's a really juicy reach if that ever happens.
In the end, Beach will get the Sumo. Not the worst case result for Korak, who will take the first place here. Plus 34, undoing the majority of the damage from the last game. Beechen takes a positive 13 points, exactly undoing his damage from the last game. Minko in third place here, negative 11.3, and Peter takes a minus 35.7, fourth place. In the end, it is Peter with a slight plus after 2 games. Beechen's exactly at 0, Korak's at minus 10, and Minko's at like minus 13. So definitely Peter getting the advantage out of these first 2 games. We'll take a look at how the standings have changed after this. And yeah, Beechen and Minko right there at the middle at plus minus 0. Peter doing quite well in the standings, competing for first overall and Korak hanging out at the edge of the demotion zone. Hopefully, it's not as crazy as last year's demotion zone was. That was insanely tight.
Oh yeah, it's currently seeing the demotion zone in A1. The difference between 17th and 18th is a whole 60 points. Wow.
Yeah, we can take a look at the standings full screen. We've got Jonathan has had quite a good couple of series. The statistics definitely show it with a 27.1% win rate and a great average win. The slightly higher deal-in percentage, a little bit because it's early in the season, and also because, well, if you're going to play a very reachy heavy playstyle, a lot of times you're going to just deal in as a result, but the average is fairly low for Jonathan. She is the one who has the insane EV with that 5.4% deal-in rate 6 games in.
Wow, having a 24% win rate and a 5% deal-in rate. I guess it is still early in the season, but that's a really amazing statistic there.
Yeah, usually by the end of season 3, we get some numbers that make sense. But who knows? Maybe this is Shu's season where he doesn't deal in. Last season, I think he had something like a 17% win rate and a 17% deal in rate. And that was good enough to survive in A1. So it was wild. All right. Well,
Yeah. Oh yeah, go on.
I was gonna say I'm looking at the schedule, and we've got a couple of games that are set to start in about 5 minutes. Oh, there might be a little bit of delay for those games as well, as we have to hold out for the 5 minute delay part of things. Now we're gonna have a choice between an A2 matchup between Wenchen, Christian, John, and Jonathan, as well as a B3 matchup between Aaron, Elwin, Nancy, and Nathan. Definitely two matches. I don't have any personal preference. We might end up choosing based off of who starts their game first.
Yep, yeah, I'm okay with either one. I am curious to see the B3 table myself because there are people in my league, and kind of good to be able to scout people that I have to play against.
But you heard David, B3 folks, if you are watching the stream right now, make sure to start your game on time. And make sure we get to watch it. All right. Well, in the meantime, it looks like we will have a few minutes before that starts. So let's go on a little bit of a break. When we come back, we will have everything prepared for whichever table we see coming up next. So we'll see you in a few. Well, folks, we are back in. The A2 match did end up starting first. And from the looks of things, it looks like the websites may be down. So I hope hopefully the game runs properly. We'll see if some refreshes help out. But we've got Wenchen, Christian, John, and Jonathan fighting it out in this A2 table.
Do you have a scouting report on any of those four?
Christian recently promoted from B1, as did Wenchen. John barely missed the cut into A1 last season, had a tremendous final series to try to make it there, but fell just a little bit short. Was the 6th slot where only 5 promoted. And Jonathan has been a fairly strong player, very consistent player. You could see just out of the first 4 games, 27.3% win rate, 10% dealing rate, very good numbers. Looks like he has somewhat of a higher reach percentage, so we'll see if that holds true in this game. But it looks like the game is live, and we are looking at Wenchen's perspective. What do you think is going to be the plan for the SciPi?
Currently, it's pretty much currently could be reach painful, but likely gonna be reach Inomi. Curious if it's gonna be like the A1 table where they just see Ricci and just click the Ricci button. On the right here, I was gonna. Interestingly, they don't take the Sanchoku chance here, dropping the 9. So I was gonna think on the right here with Christian, that was the Sanchoku style hand. Ooh, there's still a 678 Sanchoku. If you can get Sanchoku, Sanchoku Pinfu possibly, that'd be a great hand. Opposite, I see another possible Pinfu, maybe Tanyao. Yeah, with one Dora, if you get a Ricci Tanya 1, I'm very happy with that. And on the left, that could be a normal, yeah, could be a normal reach painful. Could also be each depending on how draws go. I think everyone overall has like there's no one that has like a huge advantage over anyone else, and I think everyone has a winning chance here.
Yeah, we'll see if Wenchen can pull together the dealer advantage here. But a second door drawn for Christian is pretty important. Unfortunately, hand is a little bit far away from Tanya, but if you can draw around the Sanzo, well, not with the 1-so. I was going to say like a 4-so. Maybe you can think about opening up.
Yeah, the one thing I'm a bit sad is that they didn't try to go for the 789 Sanshok, but I guess they kind of like Tanyao better, so I can totally understand the reasoning there.
Yeah, if the 3-mod wasn't Dora, they probably would have hedged it a little bit longer. But not while they're trying to hold the Dora. In the meantime, John across the table is Ishanten with the pretty wide shapes. But of course, ideally would draw something like the 6-mod for Peiko Chance and Tanya Pinfu.
In that position, I mean, yeah, I'd take that. I might even just take any. Ooh,
Beach.
that's Tempai. Ooh, do you like that Tempai there?
Uh, so if I'm John, I don't think it's going to win, but I think I might have thrown the 2-mod personally.
Interest. Oh, for the Itsu chance?
Right, but I mean, if you do win, it's Ricci Dora too. Probably Tsumo for Mangan, so uh, there's a good argument to be made to just take your Mangan chance when you have it.
Yeah, because I'm curious. Yes, if you win here, you do get expensive, but do you want the chance of changing it for possibly, I don't know, a Tanyao or a Pimfu or a Itsu?
Right. Yeah, it's yeah. Well, I'm curious, like, what your thought is. If you were in John's situation, would you take the Ricci? Would you cut the 7 and hold the Dama? Would you cut the 2 and hold out for Ipeko or Itsu?
Well, if seems like you don't know me well enough. I'm dropping one monk because I want Tanyao.
Ah, yeah, fair enough. I guess if you drop the 2 mon, you're still going to drop the 1 mon afterwards if you get Tanyao, so
Yeah, and so as much as I do like Icha, actually, the problem is that 3 of the 9 mons are already dead, so getting the last 9 mon is usually a hell wait.
yeah, fair enough. Although I guess if you draw, yeah, you're probably winning on the 6, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. If you want the 6, then you still have the 6, 7, 7, 8 to go for the Ipeko there.
In the end, I mean, the 3 mon was buried in the dead wall, and John will be the only player to Tenpai, so it does pick up 2,000 points from that hand, which, given the draws that followed, might have been as much as he could expect. And so we'll take the small lead moving into East 2. Oh, we'll try that again. Yeah, it's always a little bit sad when you've got a great hand that goes to Ryukoku and you don't get all the points you want, but just think about it like you won a Tanyadora hand.
Yep, it is the same thing at the end. Yep,
Tanyadora with a chance at even more points when you win the next hand.
exactly.
We just kind of conveniently forget that that's our own Richi stick that's sitting there in the middle of the table. For Christian as dealer, great shape to incorporate the Dora, but everything else kind of awkward. Pay pair means we can't open easily for Tanyao. 1-2 so Penchon. Typically a little hard to fill, though the 4 so a small improvement. On the right, 678 Sanchoku is live. We are Dianchan 10 away from that. Too many pairs in this hand, so we'll probably see John. Well, normally you'd expect a player to drop away from one of the pairs, but rumor has it John actually likes Champons. So there's a chance that he might try to play for one of those in the future. Does cut away from the 9 so though, because that is completely dead. The other 2 have been discarded. Across the way, Jonathan has a door accepting shape now in the form of a 4-5 mon. Looking for the 3 mon there. And this is 2 away from Tenpai. 3 so also would be a very useful draw for Jonathan. And on the left, there's a door in that hand, but a lot of Kanchan, 2 Kanchan shapes to fill.
Yeah, no one seems to have like a directly fast hand in seems it, but yeah, I was gonna say I feel like that 7 mon's gonna get cheat.
Yeah, and John cutting away from the 9 mon pair is going to end on a potentially Huri 10 and Totsu 8 unless he gets the 3 so or 6 so first.
Yeah, though I don't think that's too bad in this shape because there's a lot of ways that you can change that weight.
For example, cheating the 7 so.
Yeah, that would have been. Would you have cheat that 7 so?
Yeah, I think I would. We're left with a 6-8 pin, a 3-3 so, and a 6-6 7. So I think that's good enough.
Ooh, Ricci on the left for Ricci 1. How much food is that already?
I mean, 16 just from the Onkos alone. 18 if you include the Kanchan weight. That soon would bring it to 20. So we need a con.
uh, if there's a con, the food calculation becomes a lot more fun.
Yeah, so we're looking at 40 fu on Sumo and 50 fu on Rome.
Interestingly, I don't think one pin or one man is dead. Oh no, one man is dead.
Yeah, 1 mon's when you kind of want a con to set up this Nakasuji, but 1 pin looks like it's live in the wall, and it is. Jonathan has called for Tenpai on the 3-6 mon. Oh, and John has Tenpai now too on the 7 pin. But
Still
Christian
has Sansoku with that hand.
You're right. Jumped away from the 6 so 6 so.
Problem is, the 7 pin is essentially used in every. Ooh, that's a sumo, right? Right?
We think so. Someone forgot to turn on their auto roam. That's okay. Jonathan got there in the end. Plus 4,300, including the Ricci sticks and the Homba for the Tsumo Tanya. Sorry, the Tanya Dora. We will move to John's dealership, and what a glorious high pie. He shot 10 already, but
Wow.
John might want more.
Yeah, no, I'm curious. Is this the Insta-Reach or is this the Hongich?
홈,
If you draw 5 Mon, it's very
5 on
tempting to take that Ricci.
5 on. I think I have to take the Ricci.
John's
Oh,
not going to give that opportunity. Just going to drop the 6/7 pin. That way, if he draws the 5 Mon, the path is direct to.
that's a bit
Oh, it's
sad, dude. As much as I like it, I actually would have dropped this South and West just because they're not a Yakuai, and yeah, I would have just gone for the Ricci there.
yeah. I think John might have decided that if he drew the 5 Mon, he was going to cut the 6/7 anyway.
홈,
I think he tends to play in that sort of very aggressive, greedy play
좀,
style anyway, and will be a relatively expensive hand for Jonathan with the 2 Dora and the loads of Fu. So Christian probably a little bit surprised to deal into 5,200 there.
Yeah, you don't expect a hand to be that expensive so quickly.
One call in, and in the first row still. That'll give Jonathan a pretty significant lead here. Reasonable hype. That 8 so is your door acceptance.
Yeah, it's gonna say this hand is a bit awkward. Maybe might be Pinfu, might be Tanyao. I can see a few shapes. Ooh, that's a really good draw.
Yeah, holding all the shapes here. If you end up on the Shampoo 3 Mon pay weight, the once cut pay, that's kind of okay. You could have made an argument on that 8 so cut to even just cut away north right there and try to aim for Pinfu or Tanyao and just hold your door acceptance as long as you can. But now that we've drawn the 5 so, we can still think about using the door if we draw it.
Yep. Other than that, I don't think anyone has yeah, I see a lot of hands here that can possibly be something similar to Pinfu on the opposite there. That looks like if call for White Dragon and just take a quick 1000.
Yeah, definitely possibility. Uh, all these hands are pretty decent, but none of them has Dora yet.
Yeah, curious. So yeah, just curious in general, if you don't see a single Dora on the board, do you think everyone else has the Dora?
I definitely think there's a bit of personality in play when, or like game mindset when that's the case. Some people look at that and say, ah, they're in the wall for me to draw. And I look at that and say, ah, someone has an Anko. Watch out for Dama hand.
Yes, that is the worst type of situation.
But
Ooh, there's Dora. Interesting. Drops the 9 mon. Possible Furi 10 weight there, but I can understand the mindset there. Because at this point of the game, do you think there's a chance that 7 so can be pretty dangerous?
yeah, I'm just looking around at some of these hands. Christian has dropped nothing but terminals and honors until that 4 pin. So he's probably Ishanten or Jian Shanten. And so he's now dropped a 4/6 pin. So I'm believing that he's Ishanten, and I'd be concerned about his next Tadashi. If I'm looking at Jonathan's perspective. So I think the 7 so probably passes right now if I wanted to drop it against Christian, but maybe not later. Similarly, John is getting close from my perspective. Just looking at, if I was in Jonathan's seat, I think John's getting close, and so I'd be worried about
리치,
his next Tadashi. We do have the Ricci for Christian on the Ricci Suji 3 Mon for Ricci Hakudora.
리치,
Oh, immediately chased by Wenshin, who drew the Dora with, that's a 2, 5, 6, and Totsu weight, all in the Pinzu.
Oh. Yeah, that's a really interesting weight.
It's one of those weights that looks like it should just be the 5 pin, 6 pin. Bad Shabo, but then you get the 2 pin 2, and it's kind of okay.
Yeah.
Ichidora only, though. 3 Mon. Oh, that's the last 3 Mon. That fits into
That's
John's hand.
Senpai.
He's holding Tempai on the 3 pin. And there's one three pin the wall, but not drawn by Wenchen. It will be 3 players Tempai. Jonathan, the dealer, will have to pay out here, and that will sort of corral his momentum, bring him back towards the rest of the pack. And it's still a pretty open game here in South 1.
I like the dealer's hand here. If you can get 1 or 2 good draws, that could be a good Ricci, maybe Pimfu. On the right, yeah, I can see again another possible, maybe Tanya or Rich Pimfu. High end on that hand would possibly be a 678 Sanchoku, I think. Opposite, I can, yep, another chance for Ricci Pimfu. Yeah, 234 Sanchoku is possibly a dream with that hand. I'm curious if he's gonna keep the 8 mana long time for a while because he wants the 9 mana acceptance. And on the left, I see Tanyao.
No, that was a pretty straightforward hand. Okay, typically a pretty straightforward hand.
Yeah,
Not
like maybe
always.
sometimes, yeah, depending on how draws go. Like if you get the 9 mon, it makes this hand a bit more complicated. But a lot of times this is Tanya or Tanya Pimfu. Being first place, I wouldn't be too sad to just call open here with any good draw to just get a 1000 and just move along.
Yeah, we've got a very nice looking Ishanten for our dealer. Not
If
a ton of value, but
they get a lot of value if they get the 7 pin.
yeah, although that would be Furiten, wouldn't it? Oh, I guess you would drop the 8 and force the Sajiko anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Drops the 8 anyway here because there's a chance that a Diamond in the Manzu. Although the door has been dropped, there's a Mount B5010 there as well, but you're not even that sad about it because the Samenchan, it's fine. We'd sumo those. I still like just throwing the 7 so back here.
Yeah.
Ah, 4, 5, 6
Ooh.
Sanjoku, okay.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, would you drop the 2 pin here possibly to come to try to get a higher chance of the Sanshok?
I guess then you can draw the 7 pin, but wouldn't be Tempai there.
Yeah, that is a bit of a minus, but I'm not sure how happy. Like, I guess I am dealer. Ooh, yeah. Like, this is Tempai, but I'm not sure how happy he is with the Ricci. Like, you're dealer. Do you take the Ricci here?
I think you will because there's 2 Ricci sticks in the middle. But it's definitely
Oh,
not what you're happy about. Okay, doesn't just takes the Dama here.
yeah. Yeah, because this is the awkward situation. Because this is the one of the situations that I think. Am I happy with taking a Dama here? So, are you gonna pursue Ricci this, or are you gonna stay in Dama? That's the big problem here.
Looks like you're gonna be stuck no matter what.
Oh no.
Ricci Pazzadora. And then that you have to kind of, at least when I'm in this situation, I ask myself, if I had Ricci'd, would I still be dealing in Anipots there, or would Christian have bailed away from the dealer Ricci?
Yeah.
And you can't really answer that question. You can try to look at it afterwards, and even then it'll be difficult to answer. It was definitely a very difficult spot for Wenchen there, and it was kind of unlucky to draw the 9 so on the Potts turn.
Sometimes it feels like you always get the Ipas tile.
You're telling me. Interesting comeback hand for Wenchen, though. Kind of traded places with Christian and is now the only player below 3,000, but has drawn into Honitsu on the left. Yakuhai Honitsu.
Well, at the very least, I'm very happy to win that hand in any way.
Yeah.
Curious. Oh, yeah. I was just curious, what do you see with this right now?
Well, put that on hold. We've got John taking a Ricci on the right for Ricci Pinfu. Waiting on 4-7 so.
Yeah, reach Pinfinoli, but I guess being second place, ooh, that's a Tempai.
And the
Done.
2 will come right out. All right, you hit me, I'll hit you. Wenchen pulls back 3900 direct and grabs a Ricci Snick as well. Snagging the extra 1000 allows him to be in 3rd place just by 500 points. So, again, South 3, and we still haven't determined, who the winner is going to be. It could be any of the players at the table right now.
Oh yeah, no, the difference between first place and last place, that's less than 10K. Gosh, this is the one
That's
that's
it's a Mangan Sumo. I wonder if John might have considered holding an honor tile over like this 9 pin.
yeah. Because this looks like a
Oh.
yeah, this looks like a pretty good Hongich now. Wow.
I guess you don't need the honor tiles if you just draw all the Manzu in the world.
Ooh, on the right though, that's also a pretty spicy hand.
Yeah, looking like a Chanta Yakuhai 2? Maybe Dora? Unclear. Oh, just draw the
Oh
Anko,
wow.
okay. And that hand is 2 away from Tempai.
Boom.
Tempai might need to discard the Dora, but maybe a tempo play there, opening up on the 1 pin. That actually kind of hurts the potential.
Oh.
No. Dora Yeet, okay.
Yeah, I mean, Dory is the first step. That's always the first step.
Could she this? I think I would. It's a free Dora. Oh, I guess it turns you
Gee.
from Mangan to Mangan, so...
So what's your okay?
Boom.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a totally fair drop. Yeah. Let me ask you, how many times do you keep that white dragon?
Not in this game, not when you're first.
You wanna fold here? Okay, just decides to, I guess, drop the green dragon first, because I guess even though you're first place, yeah, because you're first place, ooh,
Oh, Tempai.
Tempai would have won. Oh,
Oh, you gotta figure out the way here. 2-mon cut? Has to be
yeah,
good.
2-mon would feel correct there.
Was that 14769? Insane weight. Oh, and there's the 6. Wow. Some Mangan for John with that insanely wide weight.
Someone put that in. That's one of the questions that you would put in, like, oh, what would you discard and what's your weight? Like teenage weight trainer style stuff.
Yeah, that's the first time I think I've seen that weight. I've seen all sorts of, large weights with an Anko, but never the 5 Mon being the Anko and then all the tiles around it with the Itsu chance even on the 1 Mon.
I'm actually surprised how fast you were able to figure that out. Do you practice teenage weights?
Well, it helps when all the tiles light up.
That's fair. That's fair.
In the moment I figured it was 147 and 69 was going to come later, but then they were lighting up, so made it a lot easier.
That's fair. Well, with this, dealer is in first place by a lot now, right?
Oh yeah, it's going to be tough for anyone except for Jonathan, who can, any sumo here will chip away nicely at the lead because John has to take Oyakaburi, and also Jonathan has a dealership after that, so could end up snatching away first place in the end. Also, Jonathan just Ishanten here. So Ricci, Tanya, Pinfui, Peiko would be a monstrous result here with best draws. Also, actually not that helpful here, I don't think.
Yeah, it doesn't directly
Reach.
help you.
Oh, 8 pin though. That's a great draw for Wenchen, who now takes a Ricci Pinfu, Dora 1, waiting 5-8. So, and this is a tough spot for Jonathan, who probably wants to fight this with his Ishanten, but at the same time, that's 3rd place Ricci. That's your direct competition. You don't want them to win the hand, so you'd prefer to win it yourself. At the same time, you don't want to deal indirectly because then you almost certainly fall to 3rd. Instead, it'll be John pushing his hand.
Did they hit Ra? No, Ra. That's the lucky part.
That helps. John maintain first place. He will have to survive Jonathan's dealership.
That's a great starting hand.
Are we gonna do the Honitsu run back?
More Chinitsu weight trainer
Oh
questions.
no, he dropped Dora first cut. Said,
No,
I've got enough value. I just need 1,000 points. I don't need to do anything special. Let me just get rid of Dora before it gets bad. And then instantly pairs it up.
yeah, no, I would have dropped the 9 so because no matter how much you're in first place, I feel like there's no end to greed.
That's true. There's a lot of incentive for these players to be greedy. And of course, we can't see the standings right now because the it's down at the moment. But I can inform you that right now, John is in the negatives here. So definitely wants to win not just first place, but first place with a lot of points. And I feel like John was playing, the Hatsu cut is very much a sort of safety. It's a sort of defensive play, saying, I want to make sure to get rid of it before anyone can pair it up. And that will be the best way of securing my lead here. And then I can just win a Richi Penfu or something. Richi Itsu Penfu, something like that. And who knows, if I get a bunch of Montiles, I might get Chinitsu from Mangan.
That's fair.
But trying to balance the gaining points and also just maintaining first place, which is worth points as well. Well, we've got a couple Tempais now. Tanya only on the right for Wenchen to confirm a positive third. And we also had Tempai for Richi Nomi for Christian, but decided that wasn't enough points to aim for. So chose to pass that. Jonathan will deal in directly, but it's just 1,000 points, so that won't even change position. Instead, it will be 3 players over 30,000, so Christian will take the minus 36.7, including the extra minus 5 from Uma. Wenchen will take a positive 2.0 third place. Jonathan, a reasonable plus 9.5 second. And John takes the first place, plus 25.2, when all is said and done. That will... Well, I guess the standings I was just looking at included the results from the last game. So John at negative 43.3, out of the demotion zone just barely by a single point. Let's see, other players from this game. Christian drops into the demotion zone at negative 57.7. Looking in the upper portion, though, Wenchen at positive 22.3 now, and Jonathan at positive 45.9. They're in the upper half, but still a bit ways away from the promotion zone, which currently stands at plus 74.8 in the bottommost slot. So, nice little result there for John, and positive points for the rest of the table. Still some more work to do, of course.
I talked to you about this a bit before, but Zilong just being 140 points above second place, I cannot, there's no way I don't comment on that.
Yeah, I wish we were looks like things might be coming back. Okay, we've got scores now. Sweet. We'll be able to load these up before the second game of the series, which has started. So give me just a moment, and we'll be able to swap over to that game. Should be noted, of course, the A1 series that we were watching earlier continued to play games. Their third game just finished, and they're starting their fourth now. Do you have the result from that third game?
Let's look here. So the third game, give me a second. From that game, we had, where are the people? We had Beechen fourth place with minus 37.9. Minkong with minus 6.2 in third place. Second place, Arthur with 10.9, and Peter gets a 33.2 in first.
Okay, so Peter really putting the pressure on the rest of the table. How many points did you say Korak got there? Plus 6?
Plus 10.9.
Plus 10.9. So Korak basically even in the series now. And for the other two players, they're in slight negative territory. Minko and Bichen about tied now in the negatives. so far in that series. So it will be interesting to see what happens as a result of this final game. But Peter, first overall in the division, I believe now. Or if
1
not first, very close to being first.
Ooh, back to this game. This is a very interesting game. Ooh, we have a North 6 Shampong. That North can come out from anyone, right?
It's such a sneaky wait. And if he draws it himself, that's Saranko.
Oh, yeah.
Ichitsumo Saranko would be a very sweet result. Now, if you're Jonathan there, do you even take this Richie, or do you cut 7 so 8 so and say I'm Suanko Ishantan?
Personally, I reach because of the North. Yes, there is always a greed, but because I already conned. Because I conned and I have the North wait, I reach. If I didn't con, then I can think about this a bit more.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. Oh, and Christian draws the pay.
Oh.
We'll deal in. Christian, it was Tempai for a Toy with Saranko chance of his own. Ooh, Uda-san! Wasn't even the con that gave it, just the original Uda. Turns that into a Mangan. Christian's weight, though, was only on the final 8 mon, so definitely slightly worse than the wall. And so no surprise that Jonathan comes out on top there with 38,000 points to open us off. But John, the current dealer, still has starting value and reasonable shapes, including a Dora.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like as a dealer, this seems like a fine starting point. Yeah, I think the best draw here is if you can get the 8 mon. In that case, this hand becomes a lot better. On the right there, I can see some reasonable shapes. Could be a normal Ricci style hand. I'm the greed there is always this possible Sanchok on the 1-2-3 mon. Opposite here, I see a fair amount of pairs. Not much other than that. Maybe if you get lucky, Ipik, or it might be a Chitoy style hand. Not sure how that goes. And on the left, think that's hope for the last East and call and go.
East door 1, not super exciting, but not terrible. And if your hand isn't exciting, there's a decent chance that someone else's is exciting, so probably don't want to let them win.
Yeah, and the dealer's hand, this is getting more and more exciting.
Yeah, we've got 2 Dora now. Ishanten. Potentially Ricci door 2 or 3.
Ooh, curious. If this might be one of those cases where you have the choice of the Shampong. Ooh, that's actually a really interesting draw. Yeah, dropping the 9 pin there. What's curious? If he got say the 2 mon or the 4 pin, would you take the 8 pin weight or would you take the Shampong weight?
If you still had the 779 shape there.
Yeah, 799. Yeah.
799. Yeah, I think I take the Shabo.
Yeah. I guess because 9 pin is pretty cheap in general.
Yeah. I also, if I get chased down, I don't want to draw a Dora and then have to deal it in.
That's fair. Yep, that's important too.
We're in the middle of the second row, so it's about the time where someone might be Shanten. It's not unlikely for them to reach immediately after I reach myself, if I'm in John's seat. Ooh, this is a nice little upgrade, and now it could be Pinfu. Who saw that coming?
Oh, yep.
1
The 1 mon is a Furi 10, so that's a bit interesting, but
Yeah, we wouldn't take this unless we drew the 4 mon.
1
1 mon is now completely dead. So we'll be Shabo otherwise. Chi to Tempai is possible, but not taken from Jonathan, who now bows out of this hand. The 2 mon was there, a chance to pull for John, not only to Tempai, but can also shift away with a 1 pin for Tanyao.
yeah, I
Boom.
think he. Oh yeah, he takes the last one.
Yeah, John now Tempai, but no Yaku. So now,
This is the funniest situation.
yeah, wins on 4 or 7 pin Sumo, but not Ron.
相撲
Oh, instead it would be Christian who pulls the 7 pin in. and hits an Uda for 52. And so, just like the last game, no one is out of it, even after dealing into Mangan. So early days, we've got Jonathan in the lead and has the dealership now. 3 pairs. Ooh, how do we feel about turning this into Junchan? Is it too early to cut 6 mon?
To be honest, depending on what my next draw is.
How about now?
6 mon. Yeah, 6 mon. I'm dropping 6 mon just because 789 Sanskrit is a fine backup.
Yeah, East being revealed in the dead wall helps encourage that to come out, but it's still double tone. Does the 6 mon have a future in our hand? Maybe. It just seems like such a difficult hand to win in general that I don't think it's particularly useful. Like at this point, Jonathan's probably considering just going for Chitoy.
Yeah, I'm getting getting strong Chitoy vibes. It's a bit sad, but I guess if you that's the fun draw here.
2-pin or 3 mon?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking I would want to do 3 mon, but 2-pin is the way you go if you want to keep Chitoy.
Yeah, I think I like 2-pin here. Very, very exciting. Oh, well, I think the hand's set now.
Yep.
Jonathan has decided. So probably going to see a 3 mon cut and then either another 3 mon or a 1 mon. In the meantime, I'm looking at the left edge John's hand and just admiring our chances at Ricci, Pinfu, maybe even Tanyao.
I was gonna ask you there. For him, he decided to drop the 9-8. Would you have dropped the 9-8 because this is a 3 side on the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or would you have kept the 8-9 for the Easter chance?
That's interesting.
リーチ
Depending on when that was, I think that was after the 2 4-pins were cut. I think I prefer just playing for Pinfu.
That's fair.
It looks like we are just folding out of this one at the end. I love my Simon Chunk wait. And we're going to see a Tsumo in that 3-sided shape. Not the best way to get the Tsumo, but we'll take it. Ricci Tsumo Tanyao and the Ura to turn into Mangan anyway. Wenshin will pull ahead in the lead here.
Oh wow, dealer has. That's always nice to start with the Yakuhai triplet.
Yeah, it's one of those hands that, in the best worlds, you get to Ricci with the Chun Anko, and if you feel like it's too difficult to complete or other players are starting to put on pressure, you could just open your hand and not have to worry about it. We are going to see Wenshin open up though for potential Junchan 789 Sanchoku and 3 Dora.
That's a monster hand.
Yeah, I was going through that, the list of important things in the hand backwards. The most important, of course, being the 3, the Anka of 1 pins in the hand. Across the way, that'd be a good hand for John, except he doesn't have an Anka of Dora. And on the left for Jonathan, can open up for Pei Nomi.
You mean Hongich?
Yeah. I'm not buying it.
No, I'm a person who looks at that hand and thinks, I don't. Okay, with that 5-pin, it's a bit different. But before then, I'm thinking, I see myself going for a possible Hongich with that hand. But yeah, but that 5-pin
Should
changes
be a
everything.
7-pin cut here, yeah. Not to cut you off, but Wenshin had opened up on that 789, and unless he's planning on dropping the Dora, definitely feels like the 7-pin is the right cut there.
Yep.
Ooh, that's Tempai for Christian. 360. Ricci Chun? Sure. I'll smash that Ricci. It's going to be very sad for Wenshin here, but he's just got to shove.
Yeah, like with 3 Dora, I don't even though that's the Ipats, I don't think you can, you gotta shove, right? Oh my gosh, what is this?
Cons it.
You're not I don't think you really want to drop the 1-pin, do you?
No, I mean, it's actually Sotogawa, so it's not that bad, but
like
first cut Sotogawa is a little suspicious.
Yeah.
And it's Tenpai now on the
Oh,
one,
that's
so
Tempa.
this would be Junshan Dora 4, not the one, so okay. Jonathan's not that crazy. At
Yeah,
least
I
not
don't think
yet.
this hand is ever a fold, so.
I mean, it's Hanuman. Who cares what dealer has? Although you've conned, so now you've made the deal a little bit scarier. But you've got Hanuman, and there goes
Don't.
the 6. So we're gonna see what
Oh, no.
exactly what Christian has. Nothing,
Oh,
nothing underneath. Okay, just 4,800. That's not bad.
okay. I'd say that's like one of the cheaper dealings there.
Yeah, I mean, interesting. John had to have been pushing that hand because he had Genbutsu 2-pin, and it's not even that risky against Wenchen, who had conned the 1-pin, so couldn't deal into a 1-3 shape.
Home.
Definitely had to have been a push from John's perspective. Christian will open up on the Hatsu here, holding out for Tenpai.
Do you take Tenpai or do you try to greed for Chanta?
That's a tough one. I actually don't mind cutting the 5-mon because I anticipate seeing the peg come out pretty soon, and I could pull in and wait on. I would still pull in here, by the way,
Yeah.
but pull in and wait on Chuntanki. Even though we've lost the Chuntanki, if we pull there, we can swap around our Tonki to anything, even Dora Tonki for Mangan. So I think I prefer seeing a pawn there. Of course, if we draw 8-mon here, we can still get a nice Tenpai.
That's fair. Yeah, 8 mine would be nice. Obviously, I might even just break up that Tenpai for the 1 pin there. But yeah. Yeah, I guess
Don't.
at dealer 1000, you're not too sad.
Yeah, it came out, so not feeling too disappointed. And we'll repeat again. 2 Homba now at over 30,000 points. Nice little high pie again. A pair, a completed shape in this 4, 5, 6, 7 pin that can be improved. Well, not really with a 4 pin, but it is something. But we're hoping for like a 3 or an 8. Get ourselves a nice 3-sided weight. Good floaters, though, for Christian to draw around. On the right, that looks like that wants to be a Tanya with 2 Dora. Across the way, John has 2 Yaku high pairs and
So where are the
no
green
Honitsu.
dragons?
Yeah. One has come out from the dealer. With 2 Yaku high pairs, I really want to get Honitsu out of this, but I just don't have the shapes for it. Maybe you could have considered cutting the 4-so and hedging the Mon Honitsu. But even here, you'd be like cutting the 6-pin, and you'd still have a 1, 2, 4 mon and an 8 mon. It's not ideal with diamond shapes in the other 2 suits. So
Yeah, this is one of those awkward hands that you want it to be worth more, but because you have an equal amount in each suit, it's just awkward to just choose one of them.
right. Well, Jonathan draws a nice 5 mon here to connect to the Dora. And this hand is Ishanten. Did I say Ishanten when I meant Gyanshanten? It would be nice to pull in Itsu in the Sozu. That 7-so is not going to help the Itsu, but we are Ishanten for Ichipin Fudora.
Which I'm happy with. Red dragon
Home.
comes, red dragon goes. And now green dragon means you fold.
Even Christian has to be a little bit careful here. It has been holding this 3-6-0, hoping to draw a tile around there for Tenpai.
What? No, no way you dropped that green dragon.
Especially, I'm a little...
No.
I feel like John is the type of player to aggressively hold the green dragon. So that's why it surprises me so much.
Yeah, no, because you don't have a pair. You have a homing stance, and if you keep the green, if anyone else is holding the green, they fold for the rest of the game.
Yeah, maybe John actually had a foresight in the wall and knew that the 4-mon was the it's gonna be the draw for Tenpai. There's also some incentive to hold the 4-mon because it's door accepting, but I think the potential value of holding the Hatsu is so strong. We'll see. Yeah, the rest of the table must be so confused now because the 3-4 pin has come out. It's like, well, you must be Tenpai now. Or you're shifting this to Honitsu
Each.
in the Sozu or Banzu? Sozu, probably?
The problem about dropping that green dragon is the dealer can't reach that if you don't drop the green dragon.
Yeah, that's true. And here, Christian's even willing to take this kind of awful Tuso Kanchan for Richidora 1.
Yeah, because as much as the red and white dragon's scary, you're dealer,
Gee.
so it's not as scary because you know green dragon doesn't deal into a Yakuman.
Tenpai found for John, waiting 2-5 so. Tuso discard from Jonathan or Wenchen would be a double Roan. But Tuso looks like a very scary tile right now, so I doubt either of them would discard it.
Yeah, I wouldn't really want to drop a Tuso on this board right now.
There still are 2 in the wall. See who the wall favors here.
Well, there's the next green dragon.
Sumo.
Hey, John got there.
Yeah, I guess 2000 is fine. I'm just sad that he didn't try to greed for the big hand.
Yeah, and for all we know, it was just a misclick, like accidental right-click Tsumogiri, because it was very quick.
Yeah, that could be just be a habit. Just throw that because it's not exactly what you were thinking in your head.
You know, I've played my games over the course of 4 separate days so far this season. The first 3 days, my settings got reset, and I've had at least one misclick in each of those first 3 days because of my settings getting reset and accidentally right clicking. So I made absolutely 100% certain on the 4th day that my settings were what I expected them to be, and I had no mistakes.
That's fair.
A little sad
Personally,
too, because
yeah?
I can't blame my losses on misclicks anymore.
Yeah. I will say one big thing for me is because
Each.
where the chi and skip button is opposite of a different like mahjong what you call it client. So that confuses me every once in a while when I just have auto click.
Yeah. Oh, Ricci from John on Ricci Pinfu. Potential Dora 1 if the 7 so were to be pulled in. We can see the majority of this weight is actually drawn and held. Only one of each tile left in the wall.
Ooh, this hand. If the dealer gets Tenpai, if they get Tenpai on the Dora side, I think that's the if it's a Jammin, it's chase. If it's not a Jammin, do you think it's chase?
Yeah, I think no matter what Tenpai is taken here, it'll probably be Ricci'd. You can cut the 5 pin for now and see what happens. I imagine Wenchen will shove the 3 pin on any so drawn into Tenpai.
Yeah.
Because all the Sozu look bad right now, and everyone else looks like they're pretty much folding. So what are you doing if you're not taking the Ricci? Now if you draw the 9 so into Tenpai, you can wait for an upgrade, but there's really only 2 tiles that upgrade you, so I think even then he'd still take the Ricci.
Yeah, if you drop the 5, you're dropping the 8.
Oh, third door drawn for Jonathan. He might not be out of this, actually. Jonathan is Dion Shanten.
Yeah, I mean, with Dora 3 in your hand now, I hate folding.
Could even chi that and cut 2 pin in 6 mod. But ends up just backing away here.
Interesting. Is that more of a fold, or is that more of a I want to change this to Tanyo?
I think Tanyao might be a little bit too difficult. It feels like it's leaning towards a fold. And, you know, you mentioned this before. I bring it up again. You know, the dealer, the 4th place Ricci, how does that affect the rest of the table? And actually, we saw Wenchen draw into what would have been Tenpai, but he had just then dropped the 5 mon. Could not afford to cut the Shonpai west here. So, ended up backing away and missing Tenpai as a result. Of course, the 8 so had come out 3 times already since then, so.
Ooh, so he's a lot more of a careful one. Wait, is that the only West on the board?
Yeah, that's exactly it. At this point, so much has passed that you're wondering, is it actually like a Champon or a West Tonki or something like that? At the end, once again, John the only player Tempai, so he'll take the 3,000 points. He's really hoping for more. He leaves a Ricci stick on the table, and there'll be a home ball for the next round. South 2, John's final dealership. In fourth place still, but not by much. There's a door in hand, 2 completed shapes with a bonus tile attached to both of them, which means there are some slimmy Peiko chances. Not any Peiko that I want to go for, but they exist.
Yeah, it seems like I think this is just either your hat. If you can get a Ricci, I'm not too sad about this hand.
See Jonathan on the right. Might be trying to make a Junchan happen, but is not going to drop something like this 3-pin too early. And yeah, rewarded for holding that 4, so just going to play for efficiency. Christian with a very awkward hand across the way, but it has a Dora. And for Wenshin on the left, kind of Pinfu-esque, maybe different 5 Sanchoku if you can draw a 4-pin and a 4-mon.
Healer has a very interesting situation right now. If they get the 5 or 8, they get Doratanki. If they get the 4 pin, they get Furiten Dramen which got Pinfu Ricci. Pinfu. Do you think that's a Ricci?
Probably. Ricci pin for Dora 2. As is, now there's a lot of draws into Tempai that won't be Furiten. So John's probably feeling pretty happy about the situation. And if you draw 5-8, which weight? Probably. So most players would take the 4-7 pin, discarding the 8 pin. I think John might just reach you with a 9-pin cut.
Or the Shapo. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's my gut feeling based off of what I know about John, but I'm really hoping that he pulls in a 5 so or 8 so we can see what he chooses.
Yeah, no, I'd be very curious about what the thought process there.
Oh, Wenton dropping the 7 pin means that he's committed to Chitoi Ishanten now.
And that also makes it so that the 7-8 pin weight is a bit weaker.
Yeah, 7-8 pin, and also the 4 pin 7 pin. They both lose a tile there.
Cause I gotta say, if you're gonna do that, Ricci, like I feel like 4-7 is normal just because 4 is also the Dora.
Right. That's definitely part of the incept that Ricci. I just know that John likes Champons.
Interesting.
So it's sort of like competing your internal love of Champon and also, just Dora weight. By the way, it should be noted Jonathan is Tempai here on the 7-mon, has been for a long time, and has not taken this Ricci.
Oh, I didn't notice because not a single 7-mon has come out.
Each.
Here we go. It's going to be the 8-mon discard now, isn't it?
He's thinking of it.
Yeah, but the 8 pin just came out on the right. I think if that didn't happen, he might have gone with a Champon. Oh, either way would have won.
Either one would have worked.
And Ricci Patsumo Dora, that would be a Mangan, and we said John wasn't that far out. Well, now he's in first.
The power of a dealer, Ricci.
Great pickup, and well, this hand isn't terrible. Could use some improvement though. That 1-2 Mon Penchant, probably the weakest block in the hand. See on the right, 6-7-8 Sanchoku is the thing that draws my attention first. Of course, that 6-0 can also be thought of as just a Dora connector, so we'll have to wait and see how the draws come in for that hand. Across the way, Christian has a Dora in hand, but needs a 4, so to connect that to a block. Maybe Ipeiko in the middle, Manzu though. On the left, Wenchen looks like a pretty standard Tanyao type hand. Another hand that could turn into 6-7-8 Sanchoku if you foresee that 6-mon pair turning into a Diamond with a 7-mon or an 8-mon pull on.
Ooh. You look at the 1-2 Mon Penchant. Now this hand is pretty interesting. Oh. That's a quick Wow. Richi Sanshok. Okay, that's nice.
Yeah, as expected, Jonathan finds a way to get there. Weight leaves something to be desired, but this is enough value to put you over 30,000, so Jonathan will happily accept this.
Yeah, I think that's usually a Richi.
リーチ
Oh, he's gonna get chased, and this is a three-sided chase on a tile that's Genbutsu, and also Tanya on the other sides. Ooh. There's a door in this hand, too. This is not where you want to be if you're in Jonathan's seat.
I will say Tuman might come out and deal in.
No! You were
Don't-
right, but not the way you were thinking, I'm sure.
That's not.
Like, Wenchen had some incentive to just fold against the dealer Ricci and drop the Tumon. But instead, somehow John draws the last one and is forced to deal it in. And remember, that was a Salmon-chan that had 8 tiles in the wall versus 1. And apparently the 1 is stronger than 8.
Maybe I have the power to see the future.
Well, we also saw in the A1 match, remember when Korak had a diamond weight with 8 tiles in the wall? That also
リーチ
didn't win? So, okay, any number of weights is good in the wall as long as it's not 8.
チ
We have
Or
very...
it just means the worst weight wins.
Well, I mean, we saw, 3 beat 1, 3's beaten 2. Those numbers seem to be working fine. It's only 8 that's going wrong. We have a very fast tempi from Wenchen with Ricci pinned through Dora 1, waiting for 7. So, of course, immediately drawing a second door and having to discard that is a little sad. Especially when it looks like he could have chosen to wait on 5-8 for the Nobitan.
Ooh, yeah, that's awkward for dealer. I can understand like the push, but it's kind of awkward considering it's the Dora indicator.
Yeah, does end up. I mean, it's an early Ricci, so it could be waiting on just about anything. And but that also means that, it could be a really bad weight, like a 9-8 Penchon, where you didn't want to discard your Dora shape, so you just kept it. Ended up being Tempai in it because it's a bad shape and hard to fill, and slammed the Ricci. So Dora indicator definitely a risky push, and did get punished there, but that sends us into all last with an incredibly close score line. 2 players above 30k, separated by 300 points, and a couple players behind 30k. Person fourth is the dealer, so the person with the best chance of making a comeback.
I will say I do kind of want the dealer to win this just to see how close this can be to all zero.
There are some nice wins that will get us
Home.
close.
Yeah, I was gonna say on the right there with the Dora pair, that might end up in a weird Toy Toy Atochuke.
Yeah, this is like Ato Otozuke. We're waiting for South to come, Haku to come, Hats to come. Any one of these Yakuhai to pair up, because we're probably not winning the stand otherwise. I mean,
And
last resort is the Toy Toy play.
yep. Yeah, because interesting for the dealer here, your last play, so it's hard to fold here, right?
Yeah, that Poland is so awkward. It really makes you second guess what's going on. But they have to show me a Yaku. Like,
Yeah,
they're cutting out from the 5, so 8 so is probably not Honitsu. They just cut a Penchon, so maybe you're thinking there's a Chanta chance?
リー
this is
チ
the awkward situation. Would you reach that?
This is super borderline. Because if you draw an honor tile, you're really scared.
Yeah, because I don't want to deal into that, but at the same time, I'm dealer, but at the same time, I kind of want a better weight, but at the same time, do I have enough time against that hand?
Right. Yeah, it's so tough. I think Christian took a look at this and said, you know what? The easy solution to this very difficult situation I've been presented with, hit the button so I don't have to think about it.
Ah, yes, the Korak way.
I mean, there's a reason that Korak is a well known for being an extremely strong player. The Korak way is fairly successful.
We'll say in this specific situation, it is very strong because, yep, because the first place is the one doing it, they're pretty much half folding because as much as they have Dora 3, they don't want to deal into a dealer Ricci.
It could be very costly. Just, Ricci Nomi itself, it puts you to second. Ricci +1 puts you in third. Ricci +2 puts you in last. Ricci +1 with an Uda puts you in last. So Wenchen, despite the Dora, definitely just wants to bail out here. We'll repeat, the hand. You're probably not going to lose any ground on second place because it looks like they'll be folding 2 most likely. And you'll have another try in the next round.
Ooh, on the opposite though. Look at that.
Well, John might not be out. Oh,
Don't.
Oh,
unfortunately wasn't on it. Just threw the 7 so in. That will be Ricci Nomi, so only 2,000 points. And John still over 30,000. It's just getting closer though.
okay. Now I want dealer to hit Shimu. Come on, the perfect plan. I want to see a I want to see that 29.8 be last place.
Yeah,
Home.
2 on hand right now for Christian would put him at 29.7, and Jonathan would be at 29.8, and Wenchen would be at 29.8, and John would be at 37 in first place.
Oh my gosh.
I want to see it. There's a chance. If you draw 7 so, you can get Ricci Pinfu. Dude, just throw the 8-mon back. Okay, 2-mon, 2-mon instead.
Yeah, 2-mon's fine. Personally, I actually, yeah.
I think I go with the 8-mon. That way, if I draw the Dora, I can easily use it as a Jiamen.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good draw for him. Well, with that con, I think the dealer just reaches, no matter what.
Yeah, I agree.
Interestingly, dropping the 9-mon there. You know what? Yeah, that's confirming the pair. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it just improves the number of outs you have. You're still going to have this Chi and 4 7-pin weight. Or 4 7-mon weight, I should say. There are 5 tiles in the wall.
Interestingly, yeah, 4 is essentially dead. And 7, I don't think anyone in their right mind usually drops the 7.
Yeah, but if Christian takes a Ricci, we'll have to drop the 7.
Ooh, that's a you don't pong that, right? Yeah, no. That's a juicy Shanten.
Very tense situation now. The longer it waits for Christian. Oh, there's the 7, and you can't really drop it. Oh, you can.
What?
Don't.
That will deal in.
Luckily, it's the cheap dealing, but I don't think I'd have I don't have the guts to drop that the Dora there.
Yeah, with the con though, Jonathan falls 300 points short of taking first place away. Got quite close, and it will be Wenchen at plus 18.0, very small first place, but it's a first nonetheless. It's almost 20 points picked up. Jonathan will take the positive 7.7. John the positive 0.7. Christian takes the negative 26.4. Unfortunately, despite only being at 23.6, that's not very far from starting value, but the only player below 30,000, so we'll lose an extra 5 points as a result, making it 26 points instead of 21. Still, overall in the standings, we have incorporated these 2 games. So Jonathan climbing, Wenchen continuing to climb, approaching that promotion slot, which currently would be the 5th slot in A2. All right, well, we've got the conclusion of the 2 games from this A2 set, and that will lead us to the conclusion of the stream, but it should be noted that there are several more games that have also been going on at the same time. Maybe we can give you a few results before we sign off for the evening. Just looking at the recent set of games. Earlier in the day, there was that B1 match with Kaz, Travis, Jen, and Matthias. Kaz took a first place in the first game with a plus 30.3. In the second game, Jen took the first place with a positive 36.1. And Kaz took a positive 15.2 place, featuring a Baimon, Rishi Patsumo, Pinfutanya, Dora 2, and an Ura to almost give himself a thought at first there, but Jen just too strong in that one. And they continued to play more in their series. Travis took the first place in the third game with another positive finish for Kaz. And I believe their final game is ongoing, so we don't have the results from that one. But elsewhere in B2, there's a series between Ryan, Jason, Alon, and Kayla. Alon, of course, was at the top of the division heading into the series. Ryan took a first place with positive 32.1, and Jason a positive 13.7 second place. And I believe that is the only result we have from... Oh no, they played one game earlier. Kayla taking a plus 31.7, and Jason another positive finish in that one as well. So congratulations to those B2 players. And then we saw the A2 match. The B3 match is ongoing. And we saw the A1 match. We have caught up to everything. A very busy night of action this Monday evening. A shame that we can't stay for more. But hopefully you enjoyed this Monday night coverage. Of course, we will have more Mahjong action on Wednesday. Definitely guarantee a regular Wednesday broadcast. There are a lot of games scheduled for that day as well. Starting at currently the first game is at 4 p.m. Pacific, and that's probably around the time we'll tune in. And the game's going all the way until 7:30 Pacific time. Definitely a ton to watch out for there. I know there's some interested in a Tuesday broadcast. I don't know if we have a broadcaster for that, though, so probably we'll have to wait till Wednesday. And maybe we'll have a Thursday broadcast. I see a crew lined up, including JPML Pro Jen, who was kind enough to offer to commentate this upcoming Thursday. So you'll definitely want to tune in to that broadcast starting at around 6 p.m. Pacific to get pro commentary. I believe the first game they'll be watching is actually Garth's game in B2. So it'll be a lot of fun to watch a pro commentating a pro. Good luck to everyone in that series. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. With all that to look forward to, make sure you're following us on Twitch and you're checking out the YouTube channel. If you do have to miss the stream, all the VODs get posted there, so you can definitely watch afterwards. Twitter posts as well. Typically, you get to see all the Yakuban that happen in the league, and also frequently when we go live, or if we have planned broadcasts. And if you'd like to be part of the league in the upcoming winter season, you can register on our website, americanrichi.org. The deadline, I believe, is December 4th, so plenty of time to register, but you can also keep track of the standings in all of the divisions on the website. So definitely give that a look. And well, any final thoughts, David, before we sign out for the night?
I don't know. I mean, today was also a lot of fun games. The A1 games were very tight, and the A1 games were really like eventful, and the A2 games very tight games. Sad that I couldn't see a 29.7 fourth place, but oh well.
We'll take what we can get, and what we got was very entertaining. So thanks to all the players for the awesome action. We'll look forward to seeing you all on the Wednesday night broadcast. For David, this has been Nathaniel. Thanking you for watching and hoping to see you in the next stream. Have a good one, everybody.